Well, hello everyone, and welcome in once again to another rockin' awesome night up here in Boston. Well, my name's Rick Farron. I'm here at the Six Screens Telenetwork, and we got a program tonight. It's called Dick and Constance Borghi Expose the Watchtower. So today is April 25th, 2026, and I just want to make an announcement. You probably see that box on the bottom of the YouTube and Facebook. To come on the program live, voice only, of voice and video, use the link in the YouTube description box. We're having some issues with our telephone line tonight. So if you are trying to come in on the telephone line, I'm working here with it. Somehow some access numbers got changed, and I've been working for 2 or 3 hours today trying to get it back online so it will work. But the company's not in on Saturday and Sunday. So if we do get it up, we'll make sure we get the line up, but I'm not sure. So if you'd like to come on and speak with Dick and Constance, well, by all means, use that link in the description box. What you do is go to YouTube. You're watching it right now. If you're watching YouTube, just go to the box that describes the program, and in that box you'll see a link. And I'll tell you what, anyone that comes on link tonight, the first 3 people, I'm going to give 2 great books here. Okay, so if someone wants to come on link, I'm going to give you 2 beautiful books I have here: Captive of a Concept, Millions Now Living Will Never Die. I got a number of publications. So if you want to come on, by the link, let's do that. And the thing is, if you come on in video, you get 2 books. If you come on just voice, you get 1. Okay, so I've been trying to encourage people to come on. And we're trying to use this platform. Other people do it. So I want to get people to use this platform tonight to be able to come in and join the program on StreamYard. And if I do get the telephone line up, I'll post it up to the top. But in the meantime, most people come on StreamYard, and most people come in on the Six Screens Telenetwork by Facebook as well. Now, the thing is, for those that usually come on the phone line, don't worry about it. It will be straightened out by next week. I can talk to them on the phone. The problem is that they don't work on Saturday and Sunday. But we'll be upgrading to a better system, too. So, so anyone that can come on via stream, just come on. I'll see you if you come on in the backstage, and then we'll get you on. You can say hello to Dick and Constance or myself later, but you'll have to use another link that I will give you for my program. All right, so let's bring Dick and Constance on. Say hello to them. Let's add them to the stage right now. Hello, Dick and Constance.
Hi. Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody.
So there you are. So, we got some people that are already saying that they will be coming on via video. So it'll be kind of a different thing for you. So we're going to have different people entering this tonight. So if you're coming in, and I see Dean, I see some others coming in, just kind of hang in, let Dick and Constance do their little monologue, and then what we'll do is we'll bring you guys on. So you don't have to be on video either. If you just want to come on and by voice, it'll give you that option when you hit that link. It'll say voice, or if you want to come on video and voice, that's fine too. So I'm going to be here, Dick and Constance, in the background. It's going to be kind of unique. I think we'll have some different, a different venue here tonight, but we're going to add this to the call anyways as we go downstream with our programming. So it's good we can kind of do this tonight and kind of get acclimated to it. So I will be working on the phone line. In the meantime, let's go forward. I'll step out.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Connie and Dick show. I was kind of hoping that the situation in Norway would be resolved by the time we had our program. Most of the emphasis of our program was going to be on that. But since it hasn't been resolved, but there are a lot of things that are pretty current and valuable to talk about. So please feel free to hit *6. We'll see how that works out. Mm-hmm. The situation in Norway, it's kind of unique in a way with the Watchtower, because they want money from the government of Norway. That's what they want, money. Now, C.T. Russell said, we don't quote him too often on this program, but he did say that if they had to beg for money, and that's what they're doing in Norway, they're going after the government and they're begging, we want money, we want to be recognized. C.T. Russell said, then we would realize that Jehovah is not blessing the organization if they have to beg. Well, they've gone beyond begging. They're suing. They're suing the government of Norway. It's crazy. When I was in, you always learned that you have to be neutral as far as the governments go.
Because they're run by Satan.
That's
remember?
right. And you don't want to be involved with Satan's organization.
Right.
Yet there's been plenty of times, when Rutherford wrote to Hitler, and he got the JW was in a lot of trouble doing that. We know that Ray Fran's book exposed the situation with Mexico and Malawi, where in Malawi they weren't allowed to buy a political party card, and they got killed, murdered, raped, houses burnt down. But in Mexico, it was the same deal, almost the same deal. In Mexico, they were told to buy a card that said you served in the military. But if you bribed somebody and paid them, then the card would be a fraudulent document saying you served in the Mexican army, but you did not. And the Watchtower was good with that. So they were so hypocritical about stuff like that. In the book that Ray Franz wrote,
Crisis of Conscience.
Crisis of Conscience, thank you very much. That book, he stated so many doctrinal flip-flops and things that didn't make sense. The governing body they disfellowshipped him, of course, and they'll disfellowship anybody that picks the book up, but they never disputed his claims.
Yeah.
Never.
He had all the facts.
He was there.
He was a governing body member. He was just explaining what went on behind closed doors in the governing body meetings.
And that's how the Watchtower does it. If you were to read that book or any apostate literature, you'd be in a judicial meeting for sure.
Well, it's like, why do they want to hide, right? If it's supposed to be the truth, Rich,
right?
There's nothing really to hide. But they're so threatened by what they know to be not truthful. And they don't want it to get out there to the rank and file, because God forbid, then you're going to lose members. People are going to leave, which in turn means Watchtower is going to lose money, and they're a corporation.
They certainly are. Speaking of things to hide, do you think the rank and file Jehovah's Witness realize that all the money that goes into donations, and so not all of it, but a good portion of it, of their $7 billion that they have, is in an asset fund in Ireland, because the Irish government gives breaks to big corporations that other countries don't.
Like Google.
Yeah, Google's
and
there.
Also Facebook.
Yeah.
It's the billionaires. They invest their money over there in Ireland.
That's what they
and
do.
And Watchtower does that too as well.
Watchtower's always teaching, be frugal, don't go out and buy a new Cadillac or something.
Don't be materialistic.
Yeah, don't have the showy displays of one's means of life.
Right.
I think that's kind of ironic, don't buy a Cadillac. When Jeffrey Jackson drives a Bentley, you can buy 10 Cadillacs for the price of one Bentley.
Well, Tony was driving a Cadillac when he came out of the liquor store, remember?
Yeah. And so was Rutherford. He had I think it was a 16-cylinder Cadillac, one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast.
Right, and they were yellow, remember?
Yeah.
And this was during
Depression.
During the Depression, when people were out there selling pencils and apples on the street. Yeah.
So, folks, here's Star 6. Tell us what you think. Tell us about hypocrisy that you've noticed, or that's really, really important to you.
Or maybe how it affected you.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that really wakes people up. They can't Star 6 on it, but Rick is going to have them either have their voice come on, or they can if they feel like showing up, we can see them here.
Okay.
Dean, go ahead, Dean. You're on with us.
Hi, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
Dean's muted. I'll unmute him. You're muted, Dean. You have to unmute yourself, Dean.
Well, while we're waiting for Dean to come on.
How's it going, guys?
There he is.
Hey.
Hi, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
How's it going?
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Oh, wonderful.
Hey, hi, you guys. Hey, Rich, you're looking fantastic, brother.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to take you with me every place I go.
I always look forward.
Cute.
Oh,
You're
Is he
breaking up.
come on. To seeing you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, we enjoyed meeting you up at the conference, Dean. That was
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah. Constance, you and I got along very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah. We enjoyed your little dogs too that you had. I'm a real animal lover. So that's great. That was sweet to see them too.
Mhm.
Is there something you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, I just want to say I really loved, I heard Rich say something a while back. Yeah, Rich said something a while back. The truth that leads to eternal strife.
Yeah. I didn't coin that, but it's a good saying. Yeah.
It's one you don't forget.
Yeah.
We all lived it, right?
Love you guys. I'll be listening. I'm gonna duck out for a while until maybe something stirs me to say something later.
Okay, sounds
All right.
good. Thank
Well,
you.
Dean, while I
Dean.
got you on there, what do you think about this situation where they have a blood card and the blood card says you cannot take a transfusion of your own blood? And now, 2026, you can. How do you feel about that? I guess
Oh,
I lost him.
maybe he hung up. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
he hung up.
Yeah, I think he'll come back on.
Anybody want to comment on that? Why would the Watchtower want to invest these billions of dollars in these hedge funds in Ireland when they're always telling everybody Armageddon's coming next week?
Mhm.
It's right around the corner. These people that are doing this, these hedge fund managers, this is long-term stuff.
Oh, they're
just
big
like-
time people
yeah,
too, Rich.
just like
they've been doing this for many years.
Warwick, and Tuxedo and all these places. This is long-term stuff. But when I was learning the cult ways
Mhm.
in 1970, 75, it was everybody in my Kingdom Hall and in my orbit believed that 1975, October 75, or the fall of 1975,
Mhm.
Armageddon was going to come. It was an absolute
Oh, yeah.
guarantee.
That's what they kept
And
preaching
I was-
at conventions. And
I was
everything.
as sure
Mm.
as anything as that I got a mustache growing under my nose. I'm sure of that.
Mm.
I was absolutely just as sure
Mhm.
that 1975
Oh, yeah.
was going to bring Armageddon.
Oh, yeah. That was our generation.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And nobody said anything.
Yeah.
When Ray Fran's book came out, is all he said is, don't read it, don't get it, show your loyalty to Jehovah. No, show your loyalty to the governing body.
Yeah.
That's-
Maybe we have a new audience, Rich. So some of the people listening in might not be aware of what we're saying, right? So
Mhm.
they might not be familiar with it. So in 1980, there was this shakeup in Bethel with regards to Ray Franz and other members that were up at Bethel. And anyway, he left, meaning Ray Franz, he left around 82 approximately. I don't think it was 83, but it was like 82. And it was a big, big shakeup. And he wasn't going to write the book. He just wanted to sort of live his own life, he and Cynthia. And anyway, they ended up, eventually people had said, Ray, you really need to write this book. So much information that because of being on the inside, being a a governing body member, people that are rank and file, elders, circuit overseer, district overseers, people don't know that. They don't know the information that behind closed doors. So he did. He eventually wrote the book. And, it's not a book. I mean, it's very thick. I can actually go get it. But it's not a book. He didn't have a tone of anger.
No.
I think people think, oh, I can't read that because it's probably so full of anger. And it's not at all. It's like a real gentle love letter to everybody. And he just basically expresses, all the facts of what was going on in the governing body meetings and policies and procedures. And he had a big part, he meaning Ray France, he had a big part in writing the 8th book, huh?
He did.
Yeah.
He certainly did.
Yeah, he was governing body for many years.
Governing body misrepresents so much. As a matter of fact, anything they put out there, more than half of it's a lie or a distortion. Absolutely. They distorted C.T. Russell. You thought he was inspired by God or Jehovah and start this religion and so forth. And he was a very moral, decent, wonderful guy. Well, he wasn't. He wasn't. If you start reading about his divorce, which I was never told he was a divorced man.
Right.
His wife divorced him,
Okay.
messing around with a 14, 15-year-old girl.
Her name was Rose Ball,
yeah.
B-A-L-L. Can I share something
Sure.
Rich, with regards to the wife?
Mhm.
Her name was Maria. And when C.T. Russell started, he really wasn't interested in starting a religion, but he was interested in having his publications on his version or rendition of his interpretation of the scriptures. And his wife was more educated than him, which I thought was very interesting back in those days. And she had a huge part in helping C.T. Russell, get, they were known as the International Bible Students, but she had a huge part in getting the International Bible Students off the ground and really running. I don't know if she had the finances. I don't know about that, but I do know she invested a lot of her time in helping him. And so when the time came that, Rose Ball came into the picture, I guess she was like someone they adopted. She was like about 14 years old.
From Australia.
Yeah. The wife was very uncomfortable with that situation. And she said to C.T. Russell, she said he was like a jellyfish, very spiny and his hands all over the place. And in fact, Rose Ball, no, let me back up. C.T. Russell said to Rose Ball, well, you're my little wife. Remember that? And she said, no, I'm not your little wife. You have a wife. And he says, no, you're my little wife. So we know what that means to be a wife, right? There's sexual stuff going on. But anyway, back in those times, the women did not divorce their men, their husbands. They did not. It was actually a thing of prestige. It was to be honorable, to be a married woman versus being a spinster. And she was married to him for some time. And it was a lot for her to come to the point of wanting to divorce him.
Yeah.
But when it came to the divorce proceedings, he was such a stinker. He did not want to give her any money at all. He was really rotten to the core. And she had to really, really fight. I don't know if it was really a fair settlement, but he was all about himself. He was all about the money. And everything that she did to try to help him, which she did, to build the International Bible Students, he just dismissed all that. So he was very narcissistic and very self-centered.
It's interesting. We hadn't planned on doing too much on C.T. Russell tonight, but pedophilia started early in the Watchtower. It started with C.T. Russell. The age of consent is 16. Some states 18, but most states are 16. She was 14 or 15 years old, and he was messing with her. He was absolutely messing with her.
And Watchtower will never talk about
what
that,
you'll
Rich,
never hear that, and what you won't hear?
Right.
You won't hear that Rutherford had a mistress that went with him all over the place. He sold her to everybody as his
Dietitian
dietitian
slash nurse.
While he had a wife in San Diego living in a 1-bedroom apartment and had a son, and he was paying zero attention to them. Of course, he would come out and he would say, you got to be neutral to the government, you can't vote and so forth. But he had no problem running a letter to Hitler.
Yeah.
What would happen to that kind of neutrality?
Yeah, right.
If I was a JW right now and I decided to write my senator or my governor or something like that, I'd be disfellowship.
Yeah, because you have to be politically neutral.
Politically neutral.
Right.
And you know, I'm just kind of wondering, with this blood card that most Jehovah's Witnesses carry, it says you can't take your own blood into transfusion, and now you can.
You can store it, huh?
Right. Well, you
Yeah.
can only store blood for a month,
42
maybe.
days.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, they don't come out and say, well, gee, you know, we're sorry. We misunderstood the scriptures, or come up with some kind of an excuse. You know, there was no excuse when Armageddon didn't come in 1914, 1935, 1975, and a whole bunch of other times that they strongly stated that it's right around the corner. There was no, oh, we're sorry. When they're caught doing obedience to the United Nations, where they condemned over 4,000 times in the literature.
The harlot.
Yeah, the harlot,
In the
the
Book of
whore.
Revelation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were a member.
And then they joined it. And when you
Right.
join it, they said it's just for a library card. Well, the United Nations put out a letter, said, no, what anything to do with the library card.
Yeah.
Anyone can go in and access the library.
Yeah.
You don't need a library card.
Yeah.
That was a BS story. I mean, if Jehovah's Holy Spirit runs that organization, why do you have to go to the harlot for information? Why doesn't the Holy Spirit just wash you down with all this knowledge? It's crazy, but people don't challenge it.
Well, what's interesting, honey, with regards to that
Yeah.
is, you know, of course, Watchtower is not ever going to say that they were part of the United Nations, but how it ended up, you know, coming out is there was information on the internet. People found it.
Yeah.
JWs found it. And it was like, oh my gosh, what in the heck is this all about? And so when Watchtower was caught, that, you know, it was displayed on the internet, they couldn't deny it. And in fact, even Rick has the letter from the United Nations.
Yeah,
Remember?
he showed it to me.
You want to tell him about that?
Well, one day Rick was riding my car and he said, Dick, did you know that the Watchtower Bible Tract Society has joined the United Nations as an NGO, and NGO stands for non-governmental organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, gee, you've got to be wrong on that one, because
That's a hard one to believe. Huh, Rich?
if people
Yeah.
rank and file, they'd be hitting the exit door.
Mhm.
So I said, well, gee, Rick, you know, you got to be sure about that.
Mhm.
Then the next time I was over his house or something, he gave me the letter.
Yeah.
And I read the letter,
And they have
watched
the
how
letter
it.
that, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, they joined, and the brother's name that was, you know, was the go-to guy. He was a governing body member, and it was absolutely documented.
Yeah.
And they couldn't really lie out of it too well, although they said it was a library card, because it came out in a newspaper in, I think, England. So somebody picked up on it.
Uh-huh.
They never apologize. No. Can you imagine if you had a child, or let's say a mother, she has a pregnancy that's really going to be challenged, and the blood issue is going to be part of it. Well, maybe if she knew that she was going to be hemorrhaging a lot or whatever,
Or it's a high risk
high risk,
pregnancy
she might be able to put away 2 units of blood
in advance.
in advance. That probably would have gotten her through her operation or her child delivery, the birth of her child. But no, she couldn't do it. And
times past.
yeah. And guess what? She dies. She leaves behind 2 kids, and the Watchtower will celebrate her as being a martyr.
Well, remember, it was even on this show, the French gal that was up there in Canada, maybe Quebec, I'm not sure, but definitely Canada. She was a young girl, and her aunt came on even the show, Rich, and she had a complication with her pregnancy, and the baby survived, but she didn't. And the point, Rich, I would like to say, and she was young. She was only like, 24, 25, she was maybe 27. She was young. She was in her 20s. And from what I understand, she was willing to have a blood transfusion, but I guess the liaison committee came in and pressured her. So I call them the death squad,
It's coercion. It's not love, it's coercion.
It is.
And people stay in the organization because of coercion. If you leave, they're going to disfellowship you. If you say, I don't believe it's the truth anymore, and you give them the United Nations, you give them all the facts. And like if you say, well, in Ray Franz's book, it said this and that. Oh, you read Ray Franz's book. You're disfellowshipped.
Right.
We told you not to read it,
Well, I just wanted to say something, Rich, of what you brought up earlier is, with all these different situations, what's the blood issue, 1975, a lot of different issues and policies that have changed. Watchtower, like you said, they never do say they're sorry, but they don't ever feel like they're accountable, which is really, really sad because they are accountable and they will never say they're sorry, Rich. They will never say they're sorry because they don't even believe in being accountable or transparent.
No, they can never say they're sorry.
Right.
Because if they say they were wrong, then how can you be wrong if the Holy Spirit is directing the organization?
Well, that's
You're
it.
getting baptized to the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost in God's Spirit-driven organization.
Right.
So it's making the organization like the organization is God. And to a lot of people, the organization is God.
Well, and they're afraid of a lot of lawsuits too. So, that's the other issue, Rich.
Well, that's child abuse stuff.
Well, just everything. I mean, if they claimed about 1975 or the blood issues or whatever, if they apologized and they felt like they were accountable, oh my gosh, there would be so many lawsuits just pouring in, and they have enough of that going on with the child sexual abuse. Yeah.
Yes, anytime they found out they had a pedophile in the organization, in a congregation,
Yes.
should have been announced. They have no problem announcing out loud that brother so-and-so is disfellowshipped.
For immorality or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
Well, they don't
say
label
that
it anymore, but they
Right.
used to,
Yes, they did.
or conduct on becoming a Jehovah's Witness or
Right.
something like
Or
that.
now they say they're no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Can I just say
Yeah,
one
go
other
ahead,
thought,
please.
honey?
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to actually say this last time. We do have new listeners, so sometimes we repeat, but it's because the audience is expanding, which is really wonderful. When it came to the child sexual abuse with the pedophiles, one thing I really wanted to say, Rich, with regards to this, is the average rank and file are totally clueless in the terms of not knowing that there is one or several pedophiles in their congregation. And that is done intentionally because the elders keep that very quiet, because that comes down from the governing body all the way down to the elders. So the elders are just basically following the rules. But this is the point I wanted to bring up. I mean, if that's not bad enough, okay, if that is not bad enough, and then you have some of these pedophiles that are going door to door out in the public, and people have families and children, that's very, very serious as well. But this point is what I wanted to bring up. Watchtower also there was a video that was leaked, and it was this JW, I don't know, elder. I don't know. He was an instructor, and he was talking to the elders. It's on YouTube, and he was basically saying, brothers, when you're in a judicial committee meeting, you have to be very, very careful about your notes, what you write down in your notes, because there's like three elders, right? And they're taking notes, and say they're interviewing a pedophile. He's been accused of pedophilia. And they're taking notes. And this leaked video was saying from this JW, he says, you have to be very careful about that. You really need to destroy that kind of evidence and like shredding it or whatever. Yeah. Okay. And he said the reason for that is because we got, I'll say the word dinged, $100,000 legally for that mistake. Okay, so why is that such a serious issue? I'll tell you why it's a very serious issue. It's called obstruction of justice, and it is a criminal activity. Criminal. So Watchtower not only is hiding the pedophiles, but they're also destroying the evidence of what was discussed in the Judicial Committee meeting. And that is so very, very serious. And the rank and file doesn't even know that any of that's going on.
Well, that is so true. And there are one of the reasons me and Connie do this program and why, Rick started 6 Screens and so forth, is because there are so many people out there that are suffering under the abuse of people.
That's they make you change letters.
That's Susan.
Okay. There are so many people.
Can you hear Dick? This is Susan wants to speak up. Go ahead.
Okay, great.
There were 2 things. One was, one time I went into my former husband's book bag. I think you know this story. And they had elders' letters, and it was on pedophilia. Mm-hmm. He had 8 of them, and he was told to take those 8 letters and destroy them.
See?
He was told by governing body themselves. Yeah. I never went in his book bag, and I just happened to and saw that. I called him on it. He wouldn't admit to anything, that there was any pedophilia whatsoever in the Watchtower. But I saw the letters. I saw them personally.
Yeah. So,
of course, he took them away from me, but I would have kept them if I could have, but that was the case. So you're not making this up.
No.
He told you to destroy them. I'm part of that story. And then there's the Watchtower is always bragging on its Bible. And then in Proverbs 24, and what was it? 19, it says, don't hang around with those that are changing all the time. That's basically what the scripture says. Why would you, here they have the scripture from their Bible that says, if people are changing all the time, don't hang around them, basically. So why would you do that?
Right.
Doesn't that apply now?
Susan, I wanted to say, it's sort of interesting. Like you said, you never looked into your husband had been an elder and a prominent elder in the congregation. And it was, what I found very interesting is that you said you never looked in his book bag, which I truly believe. But honey, there must have been a reason for you to look in his book bag at that particular time. I don't think it was a coincidence, because I don't believe there are any coincidences.
That's Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And you know what? God wanted you to see that so you could see that evidence for yourself that there were 8 pedophiles and that the information was supposed to have been, 8 letters, I'm sorry. And it was supposed to have been deleted. I find that very interesting. Just like when Rich was asking the circuit overseer, why are we voting on people being obese? If this organization is run by God's Holy Spirit, it's a slap down from the elders. But yet, you got to see what you needed to know to realize there's a serious problem in this organization.
Yes, it is. And what happens is the friends, they don't think enough. When things are done, like, should we do this? Everyone raises their hand. Yes. It's just automatic that that's done. And it's not, what good is that? I'm going to vote for the president, but we're all going to vote for this president.
Exactly, Susan.
Right. It belies the facts that the Holy Spirit runs the organization, that the governing body is just following the Holy Spirit, which is crazy because, when Moses or Noah or, somebody like that was leading people, they didn't have a governing body.
Abraham,
right?
right,
They didn't have a governing body.
right.
They had judges to help judge the people, yes, but they didn't have governing body members, and they vote. And a lot of times, the voting is very, very close, so they're not in harmony with each other. If you have Holy Spirit in a group, they're going to be in harmony.
Right. Well, and the other thing, Susan, what I find very interesting is you were married to your husband for many years. I don't know exactly.
37.
37 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a long time. And your husband, his loyalty was to the organization instead of sharing that information with you as his wife. I find that very, very interesting. I just do.
Yeah, the loyalty to the governing body comes first.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you something.
yeah.
I believe
Big time.
I believe the Holy Spirit was upon Sue when she went to the book bag.
Yeah.
And years later,
agree.
on a program like ours,
Yeah.
and she's mentioned many, many times before.
Yeah.
See, yeah, there's a big, enormous problem, pedophilia.
Now, did he lie, Susan, or
He lied.
did he just not answer your question?
He lied. No, he said there's no pedophilia in the organization. And I said, well, these letters, 8 of them, not 1, not 2, 8. They're all talking on pedophilia.
Goes back up a little bit.
Wow.
And if they're all talking on pedophilia, there's been 8, at least 8 in
Yes.
more, but and 8
Yes.
letters.
Well, and it doesn't feel good to be lied to, right?
Oh,
At all.
no, it's very hard.
Boy.
Yeah, that's a total betrayal. It really is. I mean, even the whole congregation should have been informed, right? There's children in the congregation. But when there's lying going on in marriage, it's very hard to trust somebody. Yeah, really is.
I often think, because it was on 6 screens a couple of years ago, Rick has a guy that works for him, Luke Palo, and Mark Palo was his father. He's a good friend to myself and Rick. He's been on 6 screens a number of times. I mean, he's been dead now, maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
But his son, Luke, was raped by this guy named Randy Cavanaugh. And my son, Stephen, my youngest, was Luke Palo's best friend and still is today, best friend.
They're about the same age, aren't they, Rich?
Yeah, months apart.
Okay.
That's all.
Mhm.
And
they grew up together. Yeah.
they did, one street over.
Mhm.
And I often wonder, when I was disfellowshipped, I paid this guy, Randy Cavanaugh, that's his name. He's in prison now for messing around with some young girl or something. And I paid him to mow the lawn at my backyard. And now I wonder, because my son has a drinking problem, Stephen, he won't admit it, but he does. And I just kind of wonder if the elders had told me that Randy Cavanaugh was a pedophile, certainly wouldn't had access to my house.
Right. You didn't know that at the time, right?
Well, that's my point.
Right.
They don't.
And you were a ministerial servant.
They have no problem getting up on a platform. There, brother so and so is this fellowship. He's no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Caught him smoking a cigarette or he committed immorality or whatever. I don't have any problem with that at all. Embarrass and humiliate me in front of my children and everybody else, no problem with that. But when it comes to wanting the congregation, I had 6. I used to say 5. Now add Randy Cavanaugh to it. 6 active pedophiles in my congregation.
Wow.
And nobody knew it.
And that's not, someone listening
Except
might say,
the
well, that's
elders.
unusual. No, it's not. It's more prevalent than you would think. It's throughout the whole United States. It's around the whole world. It's not just, it's someone else's congregation. It's very, very prevalent. You just don't know about it because the elders keep that very quiet. And that's not right.
No,
and then you
it's
think
not.
about when they go door to door is what I was saying.
Mhm.
You know, you got a pedophile. I remember there was that video. This guy was a pedophile. But anyway, he was a baptized brother. He was out in field service in a van, and someone knew about him. And she came up to him and said, you're so-and-so, whatever his name was. And, you know, you're a pedophile. You're a registered pedophile. Oh my gosh. He said, get out of here. And, you know, want to get away. The camera was right there in his face. Get away from me. Let's go. And yeah. So the point is that they're going door to door. They're out in public where there's a lot of children. And, you know, when they're the pedophile, especially if they're a registered pedophile, okay, there's pedophiles that are not registered yet, but when they are, you go on meganslaw.com, you can type in your city and you'll see exactly who the pedophiles are in your community. And trust me, you're going to be very shocked how many there are. I don't care where you live. They are all over the place. And the thing is that, you know, if they're a registered sex offender, they do not supposed to be 500 yards, something like that, in schools, daycare centers, homes, whatever. But that doesn't apply to Jehovah's Witnesses. The elders don't tell anybody. They don't tell the pedophile, well, you know what? You have to write letters or you can make phone calls. No, nothing is said. They can just go out and go door to door. And I hold the elders accountable for that,
Well,
Rich.
absolutely.
Because they're not protecting families out in the community.
Well, you know, Connie, the big thing with them is they want to defend the image of the watch. They want to protect the image of the Watchtower.
Right.
They don't want to protect the child.
Right. That's the
So
issue.
that's their priority
Right.
is the image. Everything about them is image. That's why for years you had to be clean shaven, have a 3-piece suit on. Women had to have skirts that went down to their knee or below the knees and all that kind of stuff. All about image. You know, your haircut, you make sure you know.
No 5 o'clock shadow.
Oh yeah.
All that, remember, Rich?
I was sick and tired of shaving twice a day. You know, I shave for work and go home, shave. My face was red, you know.
I had to shave too by the time I went to the Kingdom Hall.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
You know,
that was crazy.
the Watchtower never apologizes for stuff.
No.
They hide so much. If you are guilt-ridden because you've been disfellowshipped or whatever, your baptism was fraudulent because when you got baptized, they hid a lot of information from you. I never knew what disfellowship was until I was baptized.
Same thing with me, Rich.
Yep.
They never talked about that in the Truth Book.
The Truth Book
Oh,
says
no, they never talked about that.
if you find yourself in deep sin or if you're having difficulties with breaking an addiction or whatever, you can go to the elders and they will lovingly adjust you. Well, when you think about when you're having sex outside of your marriage, which I did, you know it's wrong. There's no two ways about it. It's wrong, okay? You don't have to go to an elder to be lovingly adjusted.
Well, that's why you have a conscience.
Well, yeah,
Right.
you know, but they don't tell you in the Truth Book that if you go to the elders, that you know they're going to flip a coin. So some body of elders will say, "Look, we're going to put you on probation or private reproof or whatever," and others will disfellowship and boom. It just depends on the elders you get and what position you have in the congregation.
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah. Well, we won't be dealing with that in 2 weeks. Rick's going to have that solved.
He's trying to update the software and there's issues.
Yeah.
So it's not Rick's fault.
We're going to have a really good, I predict, and maybe I'll get in trouble for this, but the Norway verdict will be in.
Oh, I hope
So
so.
we'll be talking about that
I hope so.
in our next program.
Everybody's been waiting for that.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why it's taking so long, but it is.
You know, another
Taking a
thing.
long time.
I'm sorry, hon.
That's all right.
You know, another thing that they've reversed themselves on, because they don't call it a reversal. They call everything a new clarification,
Or new light.
a new lighter. You know, they play with their semantics.
Mhm.
It's word games that they play.
Mhm.
It's college. There was
boy,
a
that's
time
one.
when I was going to Newbury. It's a business college in Boston, outside of Boston, and I wanted to be a ministerial servant at the time, and I wasn't. And I used to take I knew if the elders knew I was going to college, and I knew it was frowned on,
You'd be marked.
I'd be marked. So I used to take my college books
That's so
and I
wrong.
put them in a brown paper bag that you get from the grocery store.
Mhm.
I'd wrap them up in that. Well, there's this one time I couldn't find a bag. So I'm going to take a chance. And
Wouldn't you know it?
And
Oh, yeah, wouldn't you know
I'm
it?
walking down a staircase, and you know, and here comes an elder.
Because they all lived in the same complex.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, we're all trying to stick together, witnesses, right?
Mm.
And I'm trying to hide. It was counting one and counting two, I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hide that
Mm.
the book so he can't see the cover of it because it's bare, right?
Mhm.
I see him looking
Gosh, they're
down.
so
I can see
nosy,
him,
aren't
his
they,
head
Rich?
bobbing up and down. He wasn't even looking. He was
So
trying to
nosy.
see what I was reading.
Wow.
So finally he
So
said,
nosy.
what kind of books you reading? And I said, you know, accounting one and counting two. He goes, you're taking accounting? I said, yeah. Where are you doing that? I said, Newbury. He said, that new college? I said, yeah. What are you going to college for this late in the system?
Because that was
This
before
was-
75.
No, this was after
Okay,
75. This
okay.
was 76.
Okay. Mhm.
And I said, well, you know, I'm going on the GI Bill. It pays $450 a month, which is what the rent was for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Because Rich was in the Marines. He was in the military.
Yeah, I was going to college on the GI Bill.
Mhm.
So he goes, well, brother so-and-so has a carpet shampooing business. He was looking for help. You're a big guy. You're getting that heavy equipment up and down the stairs.
Mm.
I said, he approached me.
Mhm.
And I make more money sitting in the classroom, actually getting a degree.
Right.
And he goes, you'd be in a class with worldly people.
Mm.
So
You go to work, you work with worldly people.
yeah, I mean,
What's the big difference?
I go from my house to the college and back home.
Yeah.
I don't go party. I don't go drinking with them.
No.
We don't go to football games.
No.
You know, everybody in my class, just about were veterans
Mm.
that were married with children.
Yeah.
Like I was.
Yeah.
You don't have time for working a full-time job, going to college full-time. And
You're there to get your
Yeah.
education, get your degree.
so now, because they don't have any money and most Jehovah's Witnesses are broke and living on
Oh, boy.
subsidization,
Yep.
um,
Who's
what
crying
do-
now?
What do they say? Well, you know what?
Who's crying now?
It wouldn't be a bad idea if you went to college, you know?
Well, they said, how do they say it, Rich? Higher education? How did they, something to that effect.
Yeah.
It's okay to have higher education.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't use the word college, but that's what it is once you get past high school.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Some kind of advanced education. I think
Yeah.
they call it something
Well,
like
there's
that.
so many witnesses that are
Mhm.
just financially struggling, and the cost of living is just through the roof like crazy. I don't care where you live. And Watchtower is realizing that, they're not getting the donations that they ordinarily would be getting because people don't have it. They need to pay for their rent, or they need to pay for food or their insurance. That has to come first before any donations. I mean, no one's going to pay your bills. You got to pay them yourself. So that's one thing about the Mormons. At least they allowed people to be in the military, and they also allowed people to have a college education, Rich. They're, if you're a Mormon, you're pretty well to do. You really are. Not a JW.
Well,
Not at all.
if you wanted to go in the military in C.T. Russell's time, you could.
Yeah.
And there was a ban on it halfway through Rutherford's time. But when Rutherford first became president, if you joined the military, that was fine. They saluted the flag at Bethel.
They celebrated Christmas.
They celebrated Christmas. They celebrated
Way back.
birthdays.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
All the stuff that they were doing in C.T. Russell's time, if they did it today or currently, there'd be disfellowship for.
Yeah.
You know, talk about Holy Spirit being consistent. Our Heavenly Father doesn't lie. He doesn't reverse his position.
Well, he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then just getting a little bit more on disfellowshipping.
Okay.
They say disfellowshipping is a loving
Arrangement.
arrangement from
Right.
Jehovah.
Right.
Well, it's not. First of all, it's not loving.
Mhm.
It's painful and it's evil.
Well, and the purpose behind it is to shame people, make them feel very guilty.
Yeah, and
That's what it is,
and-
Rich, to disgrace a
Well,
person's
exactly.
name and character in front of everybody in the congregation or
yeah,
several congregations.
nobody can talk to them.
Divide up their family.
Absolutely divide the
Mhm.
family. Absolutely.
You know, I just wanted to bring up something, Rich,
Mhm.
you know, with regards to how Watchtower is so much into manipulation and control, and they use fear definitely behind it. When it comes to, say, disfellowshipping,
Mhm.
you know, God forbid you want to have a relationship with someone who's disfellowshipped or disassociated. Watchtower, you know, inculcates a tremendous amount of fear into people. But that manipulation and control I wanted to share is directly related to witchcraft. And I don't think a lot of people
Realize
listening
that,
in
yeah.
are aware of that.
Yeah, it definitely is.
When you have manipulation and control, which is Watchtower, that is witchcraft.
That's the bread and butter of Jehovah's Witnesses. They tell you that they want you to do this, they want you to do that, and they say all this comes from Jehovah God. None of it does.
Right.
None of it
That's
does.
blasphemy, Rich.
Yep.
To say that comes from the Creator.
And they will have you believe that when Armageddon comes, the only ones that are going to be safe or survive is going to be Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Star 6, we've been talking here for a good hour. We've only had one person comment. I know the lines have some difficulty, but
We'd love to hear from you.
yeah.
Don't be bashful. Come on in. Rick will have you come on in. You don't have to show, you know, your face if you don't feel comfortable with that. That's fine. You can just talk and we can hear you. Or if you do feel comfortable showing your face, Rick can do that as well. But we'd love to hear from other people what they have to say. Any thoughts, anything we've discussed, or anything else? We'd love to hear from you.
Already, while we await someone to call with a question or a comment,
Yeah.
when I became a Jehovah's Witness, when I started studying in 1971, I started getting the message in 1970.
Mhm.
I was still in uniform then. And that was the reason I got out of the Marine Corps, because Armageddon was coming. And if you're in the Marines, you know, you'll be killed at Armageddon.
Rich was in the Vietnam War,
Yeah.
which was in the 60s.
I
Yep.
believed that there was 144,000 people that some would be alive. Currently was 71. And then there was thousands of others that died. They would rule with Jesus as kings and priests.
Mhm.
And then they decided that let's throw all the anointed under the bus, and let's say the only anointed were going to be the governing body.
Mm.
They were the only one.
Yeah, they
And the
changed
ransom, this is the saddest part of
that.
that.
Yeah, they changed that.
The ransom sacrifice is only applicable to the governing body. What a sick 8 to 10 members of that body.
Well, that's not what the Bible teaches,
And it's
you
not
know.
what the Bible teaches.
And the thing is that, you know, that's blasphemy in itself right there. And not only that, but they're very narcissistic to say that, right? That's very, very narcissistic to say that Jesus died only for the governing body. Are you kidding me?
That is so
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
That is so, you know, they say the Holy Spirit runs the organization. I'll tell you what I was told, and I'll tell you what I believed in 1971.
Mm.
I believed that if there was somebody in the congregation that was a serious sinner, maybe he smoked cigarettes or
Yeah,
he
because
watched porn or
smoking came
was-
along that time, right?
yeah,
Remember?
yeah, he
Mhm.
was a gambler or an adulterer or whatever.
Yeah.
Had a problem with masturbation, whatever. If
Mhm.
there was a person in the congregation that had a serious spiritual problem, was a sinner,
Mm.
that the Holy Spirit would be taken from the organization. The elders would sense the loss of the Holy Spirit,
Mhm.
and they would do an investigation.
That's the
They
Aiken theory.
That's right. They never, ever said how that investigation was going to come about.
Yeah.
These elders feel that they should be investigating you because if you're a sinner, you got to be removed from the congregation so the Holy Spirit can be there. So the congregation could be the bridegroom of Christ. Well, anyway, they never ever say how that investigation is going to happen. So what they do is they have brothers and sisters
Mhm.
spying on each other.
Yeah, they're snitching and spying.
I remember
Yep.
Elder come up to me and he
You
said,
really do.
Brother Borghi, if you at the bottom of my street, I lived on a pretty long street. Brother Borghi, if you see a brown Chevy at the bottom of your street at nighttime, 11, 12 o'clock at night, something like that, right? Or early morning, let me know. I know exactly. I mean, I knew the sister lived in the bottom of the street. I know, being that I used to be the parking lot attendant, one of them walking around the parking lot,
Mhm.
I knew who owned the brown Chevy.
Mm.
So it was.
They wanted you to be the spy.
Yeah, they
And
wanted me
report
to.
back to the
Yeah,
elders.
so there was a cut across.
Little shortcut or something.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
what I did, it was actually a long cut
Mm.
to get to the major highway that I had to go on.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see the car there, so I didn't want to lie to him.
Right.
But I purposely did not look down the street.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they spy. They want you to spy.
Well, they create so much paranoia, though,
Yeah.
too, Rich, with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe that's putting it really extreme, but a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety among the different brothers and sisters in the congregation. Even if they're not doing anything wrong, they know everybody's watching everybody, and people are going to go and snitch and run back to the elders.
To show
What
the
kind of life
elders
is that,
to
Rich?
show the elders how righteous they are,
Oh, geez.
and that if this brother
Self-righteous.
spirituality is here, well, my spirituality is here,
Mhm.
and so I'm gonna rat him out and so
Mhm.
forth. So so the elders can correct him and he won't lose his everlasting life. That's the story they sell.
Mhm.
With so much CSA in these congregations.
Yeah.
With so much of it,
Mhm.
oceans of it.
So
Okay.
prevalent. Yep.
Why aren't these people being thrown out?
The pedophiles?
The pedophiles.
Right, right.
Yeah. Why aren't they being thrown out?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, why do they have to get caught by the police?
Well, look at all the ones in Pennsylvania that've gone to prison. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot more too.
Absolutely.
1,006 cases just in Australia with the Australian Royal Commission. I mean, and Watchtower, Watchtower's not doing anything at
Yeah.
all. They just want to deny it, and they want to fight the system. And I mean, that says a lot, Rich. That just says a lot. So where is all the love, and where's the protection of the children and the families,
Mhm.
right? Where is it? If this is supposed to be Jehovah's loving organization, because Jesus said, you'll know my disciples by the love they have among themselves.
Mhm.
Well, that's not a very loving arrangement when you're allowing these pedophiles to roam freely in the organization, in each of the current. I'm not saying in every congregation, but in many of them. And yet you're not protecting the children or the families. What about the sister that has, she's divorced and she has a couple of children?
Mhm.
Okay. And then, some pedophile comes along and he's a predator. He's, looking for a situation like this because she has young children. And she thinks,
Yeah.
oh, he's such a wonderful brother.
Mhm.
Look at what he's, an elder, could be a ministerial servant, but, an elder, many of them are. And, he's so theocratic, and, oh, it'd be so wonderful to have someone like him as a husband, and he'll love my children. And then they find out, oh my gosh, what did I just get myself into?
Yeah, along with Connie's thought on that, if you're a sister, you get 2 or 3 kids, you don't have 1 minute to yourself.
Oh, no.
You're working all the time.
Oh.
And a young brother says, listen, I want to mentor your son. He's 9 years old. I want to mentor him. I'm going to take him to the Red Sox game. All right. Oh, the mother goes, oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a father in the picture,
and
right?
She, my 9-year-old doesn't get much exposure to men.
Right.
His father's
The
gone,
male figure.
divorced. Yeah, the male figure.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice. Take him to a Red Sox game or whatever sport, right?
Right.
And while he's at the game, he's rubbing the 9-year-old's knee. The 9-year-old doesn't know what the hell's going on. And then what do you have? Well, then the pedophiles having sex with the 9-year-olds and keep it. This is our secret,
Yeah.
And
Don't tell mommy.
And now this poor kid wants to bond with an adult, the replacement for his dad. It's a very, very bad.
And now he's really confused, right, Rich?
Sure.
He's very confused as a child, because it's like, I know mommy likes this guy, and I know he likes my mommy, but, I think this is how children think. I think he's a really bad guy because, what he's doing is really bad. It's really bad. I can't really explain it, but I know he's being really bad with what he's doing to me, where he's touching me and everything.
Yeah, boy.
And then I've also heard sometimes, Rich, it happens out in the car groups too.
It does.
How convenient. Maybe, a couple or 2 sisters, whatever the case is, going, to the door, and the child's in, with the pedophile, and he's behind the wheel or whatever, right? And stuff's going on while they're at the door. Okay. It can happen inside the car going out in field service. These people are total predators.
There's so much being hidden in that organization. The old books that Jehovah's Witnesses published, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, like that, right? They want them all back. They want them all back. A kind of excuse they're using for a museum, or they're going to burn them, or going to recycle the paper or something. The real reason is because if you read the books, you say, no Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is consistent from day one. Absolutely, if it was bad in the New Testament, it's bad today. But the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're always changing.
Right.
They change the blood doctrine. They change the doctrine on the military. I mean, there's on college, but I was just thinking of Peter. We were in the garden, and the high priest comes up, and he's got an army behind him, the Roman army, and they were nobody you wanted to mess around with. These were killers. And Peter draws a sword, and that's in Luke. And Jesus actually tells Jesus actually tells Peter to go trade in his cloak or sell his cloak and buy a sword. Okay? And now Jehovah's Witnesses can't go in the military to defend the country they live in.
Well, and the Israelites back in ancient times,
They
were
fought
always
everybody.
at war, Rich.
Yeah.
They were always at war.
Remember Jericho?
Yep.
Yeah. All that.
Well, you had the Ammonites, you had the Jebusites, you had all of them, right?
They fought everybody.
Yeah.
And all these little desert towns and countries.
Yeah.
They went in there. I remember a story where an Israelite guy, during the desert, and Moses said, don't go to this village or don't go to this town or whatever. But the guy was horny, so he went in the village and brought this girl back, this woman back, got her in the tent, and they're doing it. They're having sex. So this Israelite soldier comes in, pulls the tent cover and takes a spear and goes through both of their bodies. Now this guy's a hero, and you
The
know,
one that used the spear. to
Yeah.
kill him. Mhm.
well, I mean, it's
Mhm.
and Jehovah's Witnesses today have stated that if the governments would allow,
Mm.
they would stone to death people that were disfellowshipped.
Mhm.
Can you imagine being stoned to death because you smoked a cigarette, or you went to an R-rated movie or an X-rated movie, or you're 19 and your mother found a Playboy underneath your mattress?
Mhm.
Speaking from experience,
Mhm.
you know, you're going to get stoned for that, stoned to death. Your life is forfeited. I mean, it's just crazy. If it were true that our Heavenly Father would have people stoned to death for immorality,
Mm.
then, read Matthew 8. He tells the woman that was committing adultery or fornication, whatever she was doing, they're going to stone her to death. Get up, go away, sin no more. I forgive you, or I don't judge you, Jesus says.
Mhm. Go
But the
woman.
Watchtower, they got judges. One of the guys that was on my judicial committee when I was divorced, disfellowship, both of them. He had a 10th grade education. His name was Bruce Hobie. He drove a truck. I'm in a bus. And the other guy, Eric Natikione, he was sold Snap-on tools. And the other
He
guy,
was a painter.
Doug Watt, was a painter.
Mhm. They don't have any training when it
They
comes to
don't have-
counseling
They
or dealing with family issues or anything. They just don't. They just would like to think they do, but they don't.
they can't take into consideration somebody's dealing with deep depression,
Mm.
or somebody's getting anxiety or mental issues, or
Rich, that's huge in the
That-
organization.
it's
That is
very
so
huge,
huge.
And Joe
So
D'Addario
huge.
will tell you, because he was an elder for 14 years, and we had him as a house guest for a couple of weeks, that it just depends on the elders that you get.
Yeah.
Well,
you think about the sisters, but I know somebody wants to come on, but I just like to say this, is that, there's so many, I just finished reading the book that Beth Leisure, Burning Down the House by Beth Leisure. It's coping with toxic family dynamics, estrangement, and rebuilding your life. But I was going to say, with regards to it, I lost my thought. There's so many sisters in the congregations. There's more sisters than there are brothers. And there's so many sisters that are very, very lonely, and they'd like to get married, but they're, you just don't marry anybody. If you do, that's a big, big mistake. And there's so many sisters that are very, very lonely and depressed in the organization. It's really very, very sad. So maybe, Rich, we can have this brother come on here.
you're good, brother. We can barely see you, but I
Go
see
ahead.
you. Who is it?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can
Yeah.
now.
Okay. This is Junction Guy.
Oh, hi.
I'm not too familiar with this StreamYard thing. I may just go back to the regular YouTube because I don't know when you're watching me, when you're listening to me. So I don't know.
Okay, you're coming in live right now. Mhm.
Oh, good. But I'm here. I'm watching. I'll be watching it all night.
Great.
I was just listening into your talking about the education thing and the college and the military and stuff. That's a big issue for me. The way we were taught back then,
Mhm.
not to plan a career in this system, not to go to college. And a lot of people will say, well, it never was actually a rule you couldn't go to college. Technically, it wasn't a disfellowshipping offense, but every convention, every circuit assembly, all they did was harp on going to not sending your kids to college.
Right.
Mhm.
That is
And with
so
my dad being an elder, his goal was to steer me away from college.
right.
So
Right.
they can use all the wording they want. Well, we never forbid college, you know.
That's a lie.
No, we see through that. We know how that works, how
Right.
they manipulate the language they use to ride the fence and make it look like they're not against college, but at the same time, for the members, what's being said from the platform doesn't match what's printed in the print.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, I'm here. I probably will get off this StreamYard and just go watch normally through the YouTube. I don't know how. I guess I can mute my mic. Luckily, I'm dressed decent. My hair may be messed up or something, but I didn't know. You know,
How long, Junction, how long were you in the organization?
technically, I was never baptized. I was raised in it.
Okay.
I attended meetings off and on until I was age 23.
Okay.
Never got baptized. And the whole time up until 23, I was what you would call either a POMQ or a PIMQ. I was physically in there, but still questioning it. And even when I left, I was, you know, what if this is the true, what if this is the truth and I'll get destroyed in the next few years?
Oh,
You know, that always crossed my mind.
yes.
And it wasn't until
Yeah.
I was age 27 and I got on the internet
Yeah.
and I was just wondering what happened to Armageddon. I got married in between
Mhm.
Yeah.
and had a lot of issues and, work and marital problems and such. I'd forgot about the generation teaching. So that's when I got online age 27, looked it up. And that was my first time on the internet. I had gotten a web TV in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed up 24 hours on that. I searched every Jehovah's Witness website I could.
Yep.
And so, but anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Let y'all know I'm listening in tonight, either on YouTube or on this.
Well, I wanted to ask you something, Junction. I was going to say your father was an elder. Was your mother a pioneer, or was she in the organization?
Well, my mom and dad divorced when I was 6.
Okay.
Dad remarried 2 years later. He was scripturally free to remarry.
Okay.
He remarried 2 years later, and then she remarried 2
Wow.
years later.
Okay.
But yeah, then I had my stepmom. But yeah, my dad became an elder in 1982,
Okay.
and then he was an elder in 82. But I still have contact with him.
Yeah.
He doesn't know my true feelings about this organization,
Yeah.
and I got to watch what I say, even facial expressions when I'm around them.
Right.
But I visit him once a year, and I try to find out little things. I'll ask little questions to get his insight on any changes. Now, the college education change, I asked him about it, and it was basically what they said back then. You could do a 2-year degree, a technical 2-year degree. He said that. Oh yeah, you could do a technical 2-year degree or something like that. But no, you won't go out of state. No 4-year college or to an out of state university. That was his right there.
Mm.
So I asked him about the toasting,
Yes.
changing the toasting, clinking of glasses.
Yes.
It wasn't much an issue with him because he didn't. I had to explain what I was talking about when I asked him.
Mm.
What did he say about that? I can't remember what he said about that one,
Okay.
but I know the college, his point of view hasn't changed at all. So I don't know where the disconnect is, if they're still telling him to think that way or now I haven't talked to him about the blood thing since it came up.
Okay.
And I haven't talked to him in a month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call him, just ask him what his thoughts are on that.
Right.
And, of course, they'll try to make it sound like they agreed with that all along. You know, they'll say, "Oh, it's always been a conscience issue," and they'll say that.
Right.
But it's pretty obvious when it's on the blood card, and
That's right.
and it's been always told that even your own blood you could not use. This is not something that they're just clarifying. This is a complete change, and they're going to have to do away with that blood card or something.
Right. Now, I wanted to ask you, Junction, so how did you dodge that bullet that your father was an elder and you never got baptized, and then you left like about at the age of 23? I mean, I'm sure you were under a tremendous amount of pressure from your father to get baptized as you were growing up.
Well, yes. The thing was, me and my brother, we switched custody several times.
Okay.
We went back and forth to my mom and then to dad. By the time high school came around, mom had custody of me.
Got it.
And we were living with my grandma. And then when my mom moved out of state, went back to her ex-husband, I said, I just want to stay with grandma. Now, grandma was a palmy, physically out, mentally in. She went to a meeting once a year, went to the memorial.
Yeah.
She hasn't been a regular witness since 1979.
Okay.
She's passed away now, but she was a palmy. So she only went to the meeting once a year, but she still participated in worldly activities to a point.
Okay.
I mean, she would go to Christmas dinners at families' houses. Her and her husband, her new husband, were both very patriotic. They would all time attending events at the VFW, the American Legion.
Yeah.
They had parades go by. We went to a parade. Grandma put her hand over her heart. But she wouldn't budge on blood. But blood is the one thing. She would never take blood under any circumstance. I even told her, I said, Grandma, there's been changes. They've had new life. Nope, no blood.
Wow.
So she was kind of a different witness. But anyway, that's how I avoided. I stayed with Grandma. And then even when I lived with Grandma, I started going to the Kingdom Hall there, had a study and stopped it. And then I picked up another study later on at age 22 with a younger anointed man. He was younger than my dad, but older than me, probably 5 to 10 years younger than my dad. He was anointed, so he wasn't of that. He was one of these newer anointeds. So I had that study, and then I stopped it. And then after I moved to Kentucky, my cousin down there, the one place I always loved to go to get away from the witnesses. What did I do? I moved to Kentucky, and I start going back to the hall.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah.
And that was a kind of a miserable time there. I enjoyed it. My first 6 months when I lived there, I had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I switched jobs, and then I started going back to the hall, and then I really didn't have no friends. So, but it's a long story. So I was studying with my cousin, and we would argue over some things. I mentioned something that I was going to go to Pigeon Forge, and I wanted to do one of the bungee jumping things. We don't do that. Witnesses don't do that. You don't test fate or whatever the expression is.
Oh my.
You're testing your fate.
Oh my.
It was stuff like that we was arguing with. And finally I told him, well, we'll just have to end this study. And that was the freest I'd felt in a while. That was like breaking free of prison. It was like I'd made up my mind I wasn't going to go back. Still not convinced it wasn't the truth.
Right. I get
Thinking, very well could be destroyed next year.
Yep. I get it. Yep. That's
I rushed into marriage first thing. I was held back from dating until I could get the question decided if I want to be baptized or not.
Right.
I knew if I got married, no matter who I married, my religion of choice was going to cause a trouble.
Right.
So once I got the idea of going back to the hall out of my mind, then I knew I could date a worldly girl,
Right. Right.
So that's pretty much my story.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And then are you still married to that lady or no?
No, we had a lot of marital troubles. We were divorced twice, actually, remarried.
Wow.
Still friends in a way. I went out there and saw her and her family a couple years ago.
Do you think your upbringing, honey, with regards to the witnesses, had any impact on your marriage with this lady who was not a JW and you were not baptized?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It all figures back to my upbringing as a witness.
Yeah.
You know, the fact, I rushed into marriage. I was treating it as like a bucket list. I want to get this off. I want to get married before I die. I want to do this before I die.
Right.
And I've only got a couple years at best. So it was rushing around for that.
Right.
We were ill-equipped for marriage. I still had no idea what I wanted to do for a career.
Yeah.
I had no what to do. I mean, because I wasn't taught. You weren't taught to think long-term.
That's
because
right.
there was no future. There is,
That's right. Armageddon's coming.
Yes.
Don't put too much emphasis on the world. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? I appreciate you expressing that because, I'll tell you one thing, you were very wise not to get baptized. That's for sure. But the thing is, it's just the mindset of being raised as a JW and rushing into marriage. Marriage is huge, huge, huge decision. And you learned the hard way, didn't you? You really did.
Yes, I did. And my brother left the witnesses. I can't remember the exact, it was the late 90s. He left the witnesses. He called me one day and said, I just want you to know that I've quit going to the Kingdom Hall and I'm not going back to the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah.
So I was real happy on the phone, trying to withhold my real happiness. When he hung up the phone, I was just on the floor, just thanking God and just slapping my hands on the floor. Thank you, God. He's got out of that mess.
Right. Now, are you still in contact with your brother?
Oh yeah. I talk to him every day. He's a different kind of activist than me, but he spends his time, he debates online a lot. He's really good at conversations, questions. I'm not as good as that. I'm more facts. I can spit facts out, and I'm good at knowing what were the rules were at the time where he had forgot certain things.
Right.
Like I know where I was when they changed the generation understanding back in the early 80s when they said we went from having to be old enough to know what was going on in 1914.
Right, 1914.
And then they said, well, you had to be an adult at that time. Then they said, well, you don't have to be an adult, just someone who's, teenager that can understand what's going on.
Yes.
And then after that, they changed it, which is anyone born in 1914. But I remember, all this stuff. And, he asked me certain questions. I can tell him. Now, I could talk all day. We had a difference of opinion on something that he got married, he said, because he was under the impression that in the new system, there will be no marriage.
Yeah, they used to teach that.
I told him, I said, no, if you live through Armageddon, you can still get married in the new system. It's only if you die before Armageddon. So there was a difference in there.
Yeah, they changed.
But that's how I remember. As long as you made it through Armageddon, you could marry in the new system.
Wow, that's interesting because I was in the 70s and the early 80s, and it was there will not be any marriages back then. There will not be any marriages in the new system. So that was something that they changed also.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, they changed a lot of things.
They changed a lot. If you're in the organization long enough, you can really see how they flip-flop.
And they don't want you to know it. And here's how it works.
That's why they destroyed the books. Right?
That was going to be my point.
Yeah.
If you go into a Watchtower, you go to your Kingdom Hall, there was a library. Every Kingdom Hall had it.
Yeah.
They had books that went back to C.T. Russell, right?
Yeah.
Well, so what they've done is they said, all right, I think it's 85 back, turn all those books in. because if you read them, you'd say, well, wait a minute, they flip-flopped on this, they flip-flopped on that, they reversed this. Wait a minute, is the Holy Spirit really running this organization?
Right.
Or is this, and that's what they don't want you to realize, that men run this. Our Heavenly Father does not run this organization.
Right.
And our Heavenly Father's name is not Jehovah. It's Yahweh, the great I am. That's his name. Yahweh, I mean, Jehovah came from, I think, Anne-Marie said of the 14th or 15th century, some Catholic monk.
Yeah.
I forget his name, big
Yeah.
long name.
Yeah, Italian.
But he decided, well, I'm a smart guy. I'm going to put vowels, where they don't belong, or I'm going to add vowels to Yahweh, and you come up with Jehovah. Anyway, they don't want you looking at those old books. There was a
Well, 75 was huge, Rich. I mean, there are people today listening, right? If I can just interject.
sure.
I have heard that there are people today that said, oh, 75 was never taught in Watchtower. Oh, heck, it wasn't. We lived it. And, so many people, I mean, it was like in the Kingdom Ministry, the Theocratic Ministry School, it was in the magazines, it was at the conventions, it was all over the place. And you can even hear Freddie Franz that time in that, I don't know where it was, New York, possibly.
Yeah.
Making the announcement that Armageddon is coming very, very, very soon. Anyway, when it did not come, okay, there were, what was it, Rich, 250,000 or 500,000?
Yeah.
They left the organization. They left the organization like in 1976 and said, that's it. So, it impacted a lot of people. So looks like we have Gil. So thank you, Junction. We really appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
on. Pleasure to meet you tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Is this Gilbert?
Yeah, I should have combed my hair.
We just lost
we
you.
just lost you.
We just lost you. Rick, can we get
Rick will bring him. I should.
yeah.
But hey, Dick was talking about the stabbing of the man and the woman in the tent.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And what were you saying, Rick? That how Watchtower was?
Watchtower made a here. I guess it was a spear. I guess they were doing the funky monkey, and somebody came in with a spear and went through both of their bodies with the spear, and go ahead.
No, but the point is, because as elders in the congregation, I would hear elders use that Bible account of Numbers 25, and they would use it with that you have every right to like go and kill a brother spiritually, stab him. And if you can stab the girl in the process, you would be like the faithful Eleazar, son of Aaron. And it would always piss me off because this is where the Jehovah's Witnesses totally always misapply scripture in such a way that is dangerous. To actually say that this Bible verse of the elders killing a man, the priests, they totally discount everything that was happening. And you got to understand, we didn't live 4,000 years ago. The 4,000 years ago, humankind lived in a different way, and we live in a different way.
Right.
And back then, the Israelites were leaving Egypt as from slavery, and they were going to create a new country, a new people. And so sex was only allowed within your tribes and in your country because your country had to grow. It was a no-brainer. And then after they had just made a covenant with God, what do? It's not the fact that they went with their cousins and had sexual relations because they were the Moabites. They went and they worshiped their gods. Who knows, were they sacrificing children or who knows what ungodly things that they were doing.
Yeah.
So it was an act of betrayal, and you have to put yourself in these people's situation. You're in a situation where you have a million people. You're going to enter into a promised land, and you're going to start a country. You have to have rules. You have to have regulations. You have to have an infrastructure. And then these two prominent people, the prominent person from Israel goes and picks a prominent woman from the Baals. They walk in, giving the middle finger to Moses and the high priest and say, I don't care what you guys think. I'm going to have sex with this woman, and like taunting it and flaunting it. And so the young man,
the high priest's son says, hell no, not on my watch. Gets the sword and he kills the two. And that's where the Bible account says that the wrath of God calmed down. But you have to put yourself in a different, it's not 2026. It's 1500 BC, 3,500 years ago. You're trying to start, and this is where the Watchtower is saying, you're going to use that Bible text to say that I can kill a 16-year-old boy because he was having sex with a girl?
Okay, I see.
It's totally wrong.
Right, right.
No,
I see your point.
they're two totally different things.
Right, right.
No. Now, if it was one of the governing body members' son who goes and gets a Mormon girl, and then he goes has sex with her in Bethel in the lunchroom, so everybody could see, well, then that would be like a little bit different, right? You might want to make a little bit case. You won't want to kill anybody, but this was a political hit job on the leaders. This was a betrayal. It's like you have the Israel flag, and then somebody comes in and says, no, I have a different flag. It's like, yeah, but a month ago we had just dedicated ourselves, and we're a nation. So you're talking. See, so it's a lot. This is the thing. Everything in life is politics. It's all.
Oh, isn't it?
Bible is politics. And so this is what the brothers don't understand. This is a very good Bible chapter, Numbers 25. But it also explains the life of these men that lived 3,500 years ago without iPhones, StreamYard, and electricity.
Right.
Who had every right to say, no, you will only have sex with these women and these men, and we're going to build a country. It's like coming to the United States and saying, we're not going to have sex with the Native Americans. We're going to conquer this land, and we're going to have children, and we're going to build. You see, that's their thinking. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. And then you can't go and say, we're going to build a country and have this form of government and this form of religion, and then go have sex and sacrifice your kids with the adulterous type of sex. And it wasn't just sex. If you look at the words in Bible Hub and Gateway, it talks about, it uses a crazy word, but it's not like normal sex, like just normal sex. This was way out. It's like XXX stuff, and they were trying to bring that porn, basically porn, into the halls of government. Just walking like, yeah, I could do this, and from prominent family members. So the point I'm trying to make is I'm not trying to justify yes or no. I'm trying to say is that Watchtower takes these Bible verses that have nothing to do with two 16-year-old kids that are horny. Nothing to do. And then to say that you're going to be an elder and have a sword and show no mercy, that is total.
Yeah, they cherry pick.
It's just the way these elders think. They read the Bible with such a perverted lack of love, lack of understanding of history.
Oh, yeah.
Lack of application. And my brother-in-law used to say that. He was circuit overseer. He would use that text all the time. And my brother Jesse and I would be like, no.
Yeah.
16-year-old kids that are horny in 2026 is not the same as these two. What were these two people? What were these? I was talking to ChatGPT about it. He kind of agreed with me, didn't, but there were two prominent people that were basically given Moses the middle finger. And it was brazen, it was public, it was a total disregard to Moses and what everybody in the country was trying to accomplish. And so they did what they did in 3,500 years. So that was my whole point. When Rick said that, it really pissed me off. I mean, Dick said that because it brings me reminders as a Jehovah's Witness elder, how many times they just cherry pick these little, verse 8, you didn't even read the whole chapter 25 to understand everything that was happening. All they know is that you get a sword and you kill two people because they had sex. And that was not what the account was about. I'm sorry I'm going off.
No, that's what I was going to say, Gilbert, but you were an elder for how many years?
Too long. Yeah, too long.
Too long.
About 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
So, what was your experience? I mean, you were involved with judicial meetings, I would think, right? Yeah. So What was what can you just share with the audience with regards to your being an elder and in the judicial committee meetings with regards to some of these scriptures? I mean, we know the majority of people who are disfellowshipped is because of immorality, right?
Correct.
Because of fornication or because of adultery. So can you share something with the audience with regards
I
to
actually did a video and I got a lot of bad feedback, negative feedback, because one of the best judicial committees I was in, I was the last of the 3 elders that do the inquiry. And I started yelling and screaming and attacking the young kid. And then finally he goes, yes, I did have sex with her. And then I get quiet and I go, how does that feel? He goes, it feels great. It feels great. I go, does it feel good to just tell the truth? Just get it all. And then I started talking to him. I started saying, hey, the problem is not that you had sex with her. The problem is that you're doing it behind her dad's back. The fact is that she may want to get married, have kids, and you don't. But you're having sex with her and you're keeping her from being with a man that does want to marry her and have kids. Mm-hmm. I go, and I told him, you're a scumbag, you're scum, you're low, you're disgusting, filthy, you're a pig. Mm-hmm. I go, so what you need to do is go back home, you need to rethink what you're going to do, and you need to clean up your act and show respect to the dad, show respect to the mother, show respect to her family, make a decision. I go, that's the problem. So the young kid goes, you know what? He goes, I have to be disfellowshipped. I go, why do you have to be disfellowshipped? He goes, I got to clean up my act. So he disfellowshipped himself. I didn't disfellowship him. Oh. But I saw him like 2 years later, has twins. He's super happy. And I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
But the whole point is that I've noticed that some elders always wanted to go by the book.
Yeah.
Go by the book.
Right.
And when there's a place for disfellowshipping, but not institutional disfellowshipping. Mm. There's a place when a dad says, son, until you clean up your act, I don't want you back in the home. But that's between dad and son, and nobody else knows.
Right.
Yeah.
It should be
he's trying to help his son. He's trying to help his daughter. The problem with the Jehovah's Witnesses is they turn shunning, which is a good thing, into an institutional shunning, which is bad. Mm-hmm. Nobody should know if you shun anybody. That's between those two people. Mm-hmm. And you're doing it because you're saying, hey, listen, I love you, but I got to lay the law down. But I'm not going to tell anybody. This is just between us.
Family matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're doing it because why? Because, there's children involved, right? If your brother is jumping around from bed to bed and these women have children, you're like, brother, I love you, man, but come on. No. Wow. But you don't go and tell everybody else in the family how to do it. And that's the problem with Jehovah's Witnesses. They take something like shunning that can be used for the good, and they turn it into institutionalized shunning, which is wrong. Mm-hmm. So there is a place for it, but it's not behind closed doors of, it's not behind the way Jehovah's Witnesses do it. But I really like that judicial committee I had because he understood. It's not that he was doing anything wrong. It wasn't the sex that was wrong. Mm-hmm. On a scale of 1 to 10, sex was like number 2. Mm-hmm. It was the disrespect that he was showing everybody, even to himself. Mm-hmm. And if he didn't want to be with this woman, why would he be having sex with her? Mm-hmm. And then she gets pregnant, and now you get another wife, and now you have to pay child support to this woman.
Oh my
See,
God.
these kids are not thinking.
Wow.
So that's the problem with the Jehovah's Witness elders. They're following rules. They're like government employees. They're just following rule books. And you're like you try to reason with them. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a government employee. I'm not allowed to reason. I'm not government. It's like at the DMV, right? They're not allowed.
That's a good one. I've worked with the government. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you guys know. And that's the whole point, is that they don't understand that there's a thing called the spirit of the law. Mm-hmm. It's not in my opinion, it's when the Apostle Paul says, about fornication, you sin against yourself. It's not the act of fornication. It's just two people exchanging bodily fluids. It's everything that you're doing in the disregard to everything else. The fact that you can leave a girl pregnant and you don't want to marry her, and then or vice versa, and all this other stuff. Yeah. It's the fact that you're disrespecting the father, the mother, the brothers and sisters. You're not trying to build a family, make things great. And they don't understand the spirit of the law. And that's the one thing I've noticed with the Jehovah's Witnesses, I was an elder too, is they never really understood the spirit of the law. And I'll just tell you like a real quick, this is funny, but I would tell the masturbation thing came up all the time. I don't know why the Jehovah's Witnesses have a thing with masturbation, but they always bring it up, and I hate it. But I would always tell the kids, because they would always say, can't get baptized because I have a masturbation problem. I go, listen, masturbation is a misdemeanor. But if you have sex outside of the marriage, you get a felony because that girl's going to get pregnant. It's going to cost you $400 a month. So all the misdemeanors you want, but do not get a felony. And the kids
I wish I had met you 40 years ago.
the kids would laugh because they understood the spirit of the law.
Yeah.
You see, they don't understand. I don't have to go into some diatribe, some religious rant on the Greek word on masturbation. No, I don't have to do that.
Know that.
And that's where the Jehovah's Witnesses fail. They never explain the spirit of the law. Why do we have these laws? And if we break them, how will we be forgiven? How can we atone?
Mm-hmm.
See, they totally go off base.
Mm-hmm.
They're just by the book.
Just by the book.
And there's no love in that.
There's no love.
Yeah, Gilbert, I find it, when I was in, they always went back to the Old Testament for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody committed adultery, dig a hole, throw them in it, and they have their relatives stone them to death. It's a horrible way to die. And they would tell you today that if it wasn't against the laws of this country or any other country, that they would do the same thing. They would stone somebody to death.
The governing body.
And the elders, would be holding their coats and like, all right, here's the stones. They'd be stoning people to death. Joe Diadario, who's a good friend of ours, says that it depends on the elders that you get. He said he had this one elder in his congregation that every time there was a judicial meeting coming up, somebody was going to be brought in the back room. He always volunteered, always raised his hand. I'll be on the committee. I'll be on the committee.
Yeah, not Joe, but one of the elders.
One of the elders is a young guy.
Yeah.
He wanted to be
He's on a power trip.
He's on a power trip. They don't really show love.
No.
There's no forgiveness. It just depends on the elders that you get. And it also depends upon your position in the congregation. If you're an elder and you've committed adultery and you've hid it for 5 years, you can tell your servant body or the elders that, I had adultery 5 years ago. And the elders say, well, do you still have the respect of the congregation? Or they decide that you still have the respect of the congregation so we can bury it. But if the congregation knew you were having sex with another elder's wife, you wouldn't have the respect of the congregation. So
Because that's one of the first things they ask.
Yeah,
Who knows about
that's
it?
the number one thing. Who knows about it?
Yeah.
Correct. And this thing about them going to the Old Testament, again, they cherry pick because I know, I think there's an account on Genesis 38 where Judah, remember one of the 12 tribes and sons of Jacob. So he can go ahead and have sex with the woman. I think her name is Tamar, and he thinks that she's a prostitute, but she's smart because she steals his scarf because she wanted to get pregnant. Because back then, you didn't have Social Security, so if your husband died, somebody needed to have sex with you and have a kid because your husband died, right? That's why your husband couldn't go to war for the first 12 months of your honeymoon because you had to get your wife pregnant because if you died, she had a Social Security check, which was called a son. Because you're not looking at the Bible from, we live in different times.
Right.
So this woman has sex with Judah, gets pregnant. Now, keep in mind, he's one of the 12.
Right.
And a whole country's named after him and, Jewish people. So this guy is blessed. But the guy that God blessed was with a prostitute. But it wasn't a prostitute. It was a family member who he actually, praised her because she did the right thing. She was going by the book. The point I'm trying to make is that she was faithful to the covenants more so than this guy was. But the point I'm trying to make is, isn't it convenient? Like you say, Watchtower. Yeah, it's convenient that you go to the Old Testament. But that's what Jesus says. you're always looking at the straw of people's eyes, but you never look at the raptor in your own.
Yeah.
Right,
You're
right.
always looking at the 16-year-old kid having sex with a girl, an 18-year-old boy in the congregation, but you never look at a 50-some-year-old man in Watchtower
Mhm.
doing some dirty stuff that's in the Australian Royal Commission. See, we got it all backwards.
Right.
So the whole Bible is filled with people with prominence, people with power, having adulterous sexual relationships and
King
getting away
David.
with it,
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah.
getting away with murder, like
Yeah.
King David.
Yeah.
But we don't, but that's okay because they're the leaders. But let's kill the 18-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Witnesses do.
Yeah.
The Jehovah's Witnesses do what Jesus says. You strain the camel, but you go up the camel and strain the gnat.
Right.
You'll go and disfellowship an 18-year-old kid, but you'll forgive the circuit and district overseers for being in the Australian Royal Commission.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, Gilbert, is that, Jesus came to fulfill the law. That was it. So Watchtower keeps going back, to the old covenant. That was all filled. That was all fulfilled by Jesus. And yet Jesus is all about love and grace and mercy. You'll never learn that from Watchtower. All they want to do is just destroy people and destroy people's lives.
And the Christians do that today too, because Watchtower does that with the Old Testament. The Christians today always do it. I find it fascinating how Christians always quote the Apostle Paul. I'm like, hey, I thought we were Christians. And the words of the Apostle Paul carry more weight than the words of Jesus Christ all the time. You run into that. But the thing is, when you look at all of the Bible, this is why I disagree with all of my friends who hate the Old Testament. Look, there's a phrase in the financial world. Past performances aren't indicative of future results. That's a lie. That's legalistic. The truth is, past performances are indicative of future results. What happened in Genesis 38 or Numbers is going to happen again. Everything that happened in the past is going to happen again, and it's going to happen in your lifetime. And you're going to be like, oh my God, this is what David went through. Yeah, like you got the hots for another man's wife. All of these things happen. And so not every Bible story is going to come true in your life.
Right.
But these Bible stories are very important because we are going to live them again. There's a time when you're going to have to be like Samson. There's a time where you're going to have to be like, hey, I'm not going to date this chick. Her name is Delilah. She's not you just gotta. So that's what I'm saying, and that's what the Jehovah's Witnesses don't do. They use the Old Testament as a tool for their agenda. But what I'm saying is, you should use the Bible accounts and saying this is going to happen in my lifetime. And if you look closely at your life, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's kind of like what happened to so and so.
Well, we're all human, right? We're all human.
Yes.
We're all human. Yeah.
Speaking of being all human, I thought it was kind of strange.
Except the governing body. Go ahead.
It depends. The Watchtower never looks, or the elders in the Judicial Committee, they don't look at background. Excuse me. I take myself, for example, I lost, my celibacy when I was a teenager, and I joined the Marine Corps and had sex with prostitutes in all different countries, Tijuana, Tokyo,
Rose,
all over the place, right? And then I come into this organization because I believe Armageddon's going to come, and I don't want to be killed. So I start cleaning up my act. But to me, having sex with a woman was no big deal. You get into the Watchtower and it's everything. It's like, oh my God,
They're so obsessed with it, right?
Yeah, well, they're obsessed with it. But as soon as I started, becoming a Jehovah's Witness, the elders and everybody else were trying to hook me up with every sister there was, so that I wouldn't have sex with somebody and not be able to get baptized or whatever.
Well, Dick, this is a good point. This is a great point to bring out, because what Watchtower does with sex is they bring the human being down. They bring the man down. Where Dr. Martin Luther King would always talk about elevating the human being. We have to elevate the man. And so the conversation that Watchtower has about sex does not elevate the man. Elevating the man is explaining to him, hey, we understand this is normal behavior and we've been around in this earth for 6,000 years and this is how it is. But we are going to elevate the human experience. We're going to get married. We're going to have children. We're going to have extended family. Kind of like, for example, have you noticed like in America how we don't eat our dogs and our cats and our horses? Why? Because we as Americans have decided we are going to domesticate these animals and we will not eat them, even though we can. So what did we do? We elevated ourselves a little bit. We don't want to be barbaric. We don't want to be, like the Amazonian people. We want to be able to say, this is sacred. We're going to put this aside. And so that's what I mean about sex. Watchtower does not elevate the man in the way they teach sex. As a matter of fact, they bring the man down in the way they talk about sex. So sex should be something that should be discussed. Listen, every kingdom house, every church should be talking about sex, politics, money, all of the great subjects of life, rock and roll, just great subjects. The problem is not sex, it's the way they talk about it. They talk about it in a way that brings people down. They don't elevate it. And you guys all know there's books, there's videos where people elevate the sexual conversation. It's elevated. Mm-hmm. And so that's what you're describing they took away your healthy view of sex and they started replacing it with an unhealthy view, and it was literally bringing you and everybody else down. Does that make any sense?
That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anybody out there? We got a few minutes left. Want to ask Gilbert a question? No, hang on, Gilbert, if you could. If you want to ask Gilbert or us a question, or you want to make a statement, we've got about 3 minutes left. Anybody out there? *6.
Scott, go ahead and unmute yourself. We do have another person on there. Unmute yourself, Scott. Can you hear me, Dick?
I can hear you.
Yeah, just trying to get to. We do have a number of people did come on. We missed them, but anyway, Scott, if you're on there with us right now, go ahead and unmute yourself. Got to unmute yourself. All right, he's having some.
You talking about me, Rick?
Yeah, too, Scott. Go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead. Yep.
No, I didn't have anything to say. I was just joining to listen in because your phone lines were down.
Well, why don't you say hello to Dick and Constance and let them know a little bit about yourself?
Well, yeah, I mean, my parents became witnesses when I was about 8 years old. They studied the Truth Book. The kids, we were all baptized before our parents were baptized. So I've been in a long time. I'm 65 now, so I've definitely been in it. I was baptized when I was about 11 years old, and I was a pioneer and a ministerial servant in multiple congregations. Came close to being an elder, but never. I didn't end up staying long enough to become one. But I've seen a lot of hypocrisy in the organization, and sex is definitely one of them. It's very interesting. I mean, me and my wife were both virgins when we got married. We didn't know a lot about sex, to be honest. We were kind of ignorant.
Are you still virgins?
No. Okay. I got 3 kids, so I can at least vouch for a few times.
Okay.
Now the wife passed away from cancer.
Oh no.
But what did it for me was reading Crisis of Conscience. I started seeing things that made me question the organization, and for me, it was the book. And when I started reading what Franz wrote, it started to open my eye up to the way the organization actually worked. And that did, and the amount of pressure that I put my wife under, because she hated going door to door. She'd physically get ill and cry. She hated going door to door. She was a very introverted person. And she didn't like going up on stage and doing talks for the ministry school, or when I had a part by an elder, to do a presentation. So I've seen my fair share of hypocrisy among the elders and the way they act, the way their children act. Yeah. Some of them were actually the worst ones to have problems with sex and get in trouble and get disfellowshipped. And, and I guess I was trying to avoid that, but I did have a daughter that got disfellowshipped over sex, and they wanted me to ostracize her, and I would never do that. I never advertised it, but I kept in touch with her. We didn't discuss spiritual things, but I always called her. How you doing? Are you okay? I said, I just want you to be happy. That's what I would tell her. I just want you to be happy. I don't care if it's in this organization or not. Just be happy.
Yeah. You know, Scott, you bring up a good point, especially like, there's so many family members like you with children have problem with sex. And that's what I'm getting at. When you look back, in hindsight is 2020. Sex is a beautiful subject. And every 16-year-old kid, girl, they don't want to know about algebra. They don't want to know about geometry. They want to know.
Listen, I have to be perfectly honest. I mean,
I must have been the weird one on that one.
I had my issues with masturbation as a child, and I'm telling you, it wore on me. I thought Jehovah was going to destroy me because I thought I was committing such a sin that I was going to die. And my father caught me once. He came into the room, and I happened to be doing it like behind the sofa or something. And he never said anything to me. He never gave me a talk. I do kind of fault him for that. I wish he'd taken me aside and said something. But he didn't say a thing. And I think it's because he knew that this was kind of normal, natural behavior for kids, for at least young men or, young boys, that they start to get curious about this thing.
Yeah, you have to warn the kids that this does cause blindness, and you can hairy palms. But the point is that it goes back to the kids. It goes back to the kids want to, and it goes to show that the adults are not there to give them the proper meat in due season. And this is a perfect time if you empower a kid in this moment in time with a good set of older men and women with the girls who can give a good lessons, and talk about it freely. Imagine how many women would not get pregnant outside of marriage. Imagine how people's lives can move in a better direction. But it's precisely because of the silence. I remember one time the saying is, "Your silence is a killer." And that's it. Watchtower kills our youth by being silent, in that having a real, true conversation by real adults, older men and women who are already grandparents and, established, who can give good guidance. And a young person is going to listen to an older man, in the 70s and 80s, who's talking to him out of love. And that's what we lost in the Jehovah. Me looking back, that's what I lost, and that's why I say politics, sex, all of these subjects are great subjects. It's just how we were never trained to talk to our children or talk to our family properly.
Oh yeah, I believe the culture back then was definitely you try to get a wife as soon as you can. That was everybody I knew. As soon as they were 18, 19, they were getting married, and then I got married when I was 19. So I was pretty young, and that's that was just the thing. You were supposed to get married and have kids, have more kids. But I have an interesting just a small little tidbit. When my wife got pregnant, mind you, we had been married for a year, and so we were about 21. The elders came over to my house, and they knocked on the door. They wanted to come in and talk to us, and I'm like, well, what are they here for? And they said, we had reports that your wife got pregnant so she could avoid getting a job. And I said, what in the world are you talking about? Are you telling, was someone in was in our bedroom when we decided to get pregnant? And it was a conscious decision. We decided to get pregnant, and we were married. I had no understanding why these elders were here. And I probably never gave them peace of mind that I wanted to, because I still had a little bit of respect for them. But since then, I've learned how inappropriate that it was for them to come to us. And this was about 1980, 81. And they were intruding themselves into our sex life, asking that my wife got pregnant to avoid getting a job.
Wow.
What kind of rumor is that? Why wouldn't the brothers have told somebody to mind your own damn business? They're married. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
Hey, so Rick, this is Rick, where I'm going to have to step in, Rick, and give a public service announcement. I mean, you're going to love it, because if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you're watching this is all you need to know about sex. Everything you say can and will be
used against you.
Yeah.
It's true. So when you talk about sex, there are people out there who are seasoned, or on YouTube, everywhere else, you can get good information. Everything you say in Jehovah's house about sex will be used against you in a court.
Or what other people say. Yeah, definitely.
So,
Apparently.
so that's the best public service announcement. Ricky, you can even make a short clip on it. In Jehovah's house, you never talk about sex, ever. But
You ask for your attorney first.
yes,
Yeah.
but every human needs a friend to be able to talk to, a confidant. And you'll find one. If you're out there and you need to talk to somebody, you will find one. You'll find a confidant, but not in Jehovah's house.
Well, and the organization is so obsessed with sex, Gilbert and Scott. It creates so many problems for young people. That's just over the top. It's just over the top. And then the rush to get married. Really? Are you kidding me? You're not even prepared for it. You should be enjoying your life, going to school, getting an education, building a career, saving money for the future to buy a home. And yet, they run into getting married. And then, the marriages fail. I mean, Watchtower has everything backwards, and everybody, is really messed up because of it.
That caused a lot of problems when Freddie Franz came out with the bedroom laws back in the 80s. I know a couple that absolutely dissolved their marriage because of it.
Is that right?
Yeah, because
Sure.
yeah, he wanted oral copulation or a blowjob, and she wanted not to do that. And she went to the elders, and the elders said, "You don't do that in your bedroom." And he was pretty angry about her going to the elders.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it caused big problems.
Oh, yeah.
The marriage ended up in divorce.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's none of their business what goes on between
None of
man
their
and a woman
business.
in their bedroom.
None of their business at all.
They set the ground rules themselves. And I don't know what the point of these brothers were. We weren't, it wasn't like we were disfellowshipped or reproved or even counseled. They were just exploring these rumors. And I can only think they may have came from our landlady because we rented from a sister and lived upstairs. And I don't know, I feel like it might have come from her. I don't know that for a fact, but I just feel like she had something to do with it because she was very much a chatty Cathy gossip type person.
Busybody. Yep.
Yep, she was a busybody in a big way.
Yep.
There's so many people that got their nose so into other people's
I
business.
hated that about
And,
Watchtower, Rich.
It's been
Oh, I hated
rumored.
that.
Can you clear something up for us, Brother Boy? Wait a minute. Let's do a Matthew 18.
Yeah.
If somebody thinks that I'm doing something kinky, let them come to me. Why are you going to the elders? And I feel for some of those elders. I mean, it is not an easy life.
No.
As I told the audience many times, I lived across the street from the Kingdom Hall. That's why I bought the house. And I on non-meeting nights, which was Monday and Wednesday night, I was coming home from work. I worked a lot of overtime. I'd see the elders' cars in the parking lot behind the Kingdom Hall. Then I'd see another brother's car that I knew because I recognized all the cars. And I'd say, "Oh, brother so-and-so was in a committee meeting for something."
Wow. Well, it's like, I think the thing that really bothered me is everybody is into everybody's business, or you'd have sisters telling you advice. I never asked for your advice, so just shut up and leave me alone. Why do you think you need to give me your advice? Who cares what you think? And that was so prevalent in the organization. I just hated it. It was horrible.
One of the favorite videos I've ever did is titled "Spiritual Adultery," and that's exactly what you're describing. When a husband and a wife are together, a man and a woman are together, and when you start letting other people come in and decide whether you're going to celebrate birthdays, Christmas, have a blood transfusion, it's a spiritual adulteress. And so when you look at all of the divorces in the Jehovah's Witness religion, a lot of it can be pegged because one or two are letting these people into their marriage and making decisions for you. Right. So that's what you're describing. It's a spiritual adultery where all of these things should be handled only by the man and the woman. That's it. So, but they always, in some way, they're always allowing a third party in.
Yeah.
And that creates a spiritual adultery.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness, the whole religion is a spiritual adulterous relationship. It's a free for all. Everybody's involved, and it's just, I hate to use that one other word, but it's gross because You don't know how to just let two people be and just let them be.
Right. Well, there's no boundaries. And
No
I'm even talking, there's no boundaries. You never learn about boundaries in this organization.
Mhm.
You know, and God forbid you want to, somebody, say an elder wants to ask you something and you just say, well, you know, really, it's none of your business. You could never feel free to do that. You know, he's an elder,
Mhm.
you know, you have to feel like you have to be compliant. And
Yeah,
it's just very invasive. It's very, very invasive. But I was a single sister. So, I mean, I didn't have to deal with the marriage thing or the dating thing. But I'm just saying, you always had sisters that were always just trying to get into other people's business and give you advice. It's like, shut up. Who cares what you think? You know, I have a mind of my own. I don't need your opinion. That's what you really wanted to say, but you didn't dare say that, you know. And that I despise that with the religion. And the other thing is everybody's treated the same, you know. So somebody's gossiping in the congregation, everybody has to, you know, hear that talk, or everybody has to pay the price. Like we had a lot of single people in our congregation, and yet we were only, you know, 4 hours from beautiful Lake Tahoe. Do you think any of the elders got together with the young people and said, oh, come on, let's go out and have a wonderful time for, you know, weekend getaway? Or say, oh, no, you can't do that. Everybody had to pay the price, no matter what it was. You know, you're all treated the same. And I just hated that. I just never had any fun. It was difficult being a single sister in that organization. It just, your life was so stifled.
You know, Connie, you for all of you watching, you guys are taking notes because, you know, I'm here. Take note of this. And Connie's going to like this because First Thessalonians 4:11. I remember telling the elders this, and they couldn't believe this was in the Bible, and these were elders. And First Thessalonians, because I gave this in one of my talks, and I'm here like at 27 years of age talking like this, and I quoted First Thessalonians 4:11. It says, "And to make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, you should mind your own business and work with your hands, just as we told you so." And it says, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent on anybody. But it's an aim, it's your ambition. The ambition, now you can actually say that when you leave the Jehovah's Witness, you actually have an ambition to mind your own business and just work and just leave everybody alone. And you're right, as a Jehovah's Witness, it's inverted.
Oh, geez.
You know, so First Thessalonians 4, you know, but the elders were dumbfounded, like, oh my God, I've never heard of this. I've never heard of, you know, mind your business, work with your hands. You know, isn't it interesting how Watchtower cherry picks their you'll never see that on a morning text.
Oh no, never.
You know,
Never.
one thing that was told to me when I was disfellowshipped and was hoping to get reinstated was that Jehovah's going to tell the elders when I'm ready, which was crazy. And the other thing, that the sins that we loosen here on the earth will be loosened in heaven. That's how they misconstrue that. And they leave you with the impression that if the elders forgive you by reinstating you, then our Heavenly Father and Jesus, Holy Spirit, they have to follow the lead of three elders here on the earth. It's crazy.
No, Jesus is the one that died for our sins, not the elders.
That's right.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that you can't. Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, because we watched Nadine and I went to go watch the Michael Jackson movie. Gotta see it. We paid the extra money to go to IMAX, worth every penny.
Oh, it's out. A new one that's out. Oh, how wonderful. Okay.
So only one mention of Jehovah, and which is great because you don't want a movie about Jehovah, but she incorrectly quoted that Jehovah says shine your light. It was Jesus. But the point is, going back to what you're saying about the three elders, is that as long as you're listening to other people, like Michael Jackson, I guess that was the one verse that he liked. It's like, let your light shine.
Yeah.
And that should be every Jehovah's Witness's favorite verse. You cannot shine your light as a human being when you are under the direction of three elders or a governing body. Your light is never shown.
Right.
And so if you guys are taking notes, write that down, okay? You know, it was a great show. You know, there's a lot of note taking here. You know?
She takes shorthand.
But isn't that true? I mean, it's not until after you leave that you can really start shining your light.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, the organization always talks about new light, but the organization has so much darkness. There is no shining your light in that organization. Look at how creative Michael Jackson was. I mean, even Prince too, but Michael Jackson, I always wondered if he had had become disfellowshipped, or if he disassociated himself. And he ended up disassociating himself because there was so much pressure from the elders when he was doing the video on, I'm getting a little tired. What was it?
Thriller.
Thriller. Yeah. The elders just raked him over the coals, and he did not want to have that produced. And then his attorney, I forget his name, but he's an Italian guy, said, "Oh, Michael, come on now, you know." And so Michael ended up following what the elder said about, you know, the little subset that's at the very bottom as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't believe in the occult and so forth. But, you know, I guess Michael was just not thinking in terms like that. He was just thinking of creativity, music, dancing, and, you know, it was just
Entertainment.
entertainment.
It's entertainment.
You have to go watch the movie. It's just great. Nadine, in case someone says that maybe I said Nicole, but no, Nadine and I, and you know how when you watch a movie, you're supposed to be quiet, not talk to the person next, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Nadine and everybody else in the movie theater. I mean, everybody was talking. It was that engaging.
Wow.
And Nadine was always, you know, and she was like, right, you know, but she was that sucked into the movie. That's how good it was. It is just excellent. And the dad, I said he should have gotten an Academy Award because they picked the meanest black guy I've ever seen in my life. You know, Jackson. The actor, whoever played him to a T.
Really?
Love to hate the actor. It's just Michael Jackson's nephew, I think, was playing Michael Jackson, and
I heard
everything was just beautiful about the movie.
Oh,
everything, and
that's wonderful.
And the Jehovah card, they only mentioned it once, and that was enough.
So did it just came out, and how long is it going to be out for, Gilbert?
I'm sure it's going to be out for about a month. I mean, there was packed theater.
It's not just 3 days or something like that. Okay.
And it looks like it's going to be a sequel, so there's going to be 2. And we also saw the Elvis one.
How did they play off on his accusations of children and
they haven't got to that
part. Weird stuff that he did?
No, that's till later. The next probably video, but
next series.
Okay. And I believe Rush Limbaugh, because Rush Limbaugh said that there's nobody, not even him, not even Donald Trump, nobody has been investigated more than Michael Jackson, and they couldn't find one thing. Nobody in history can be investigated as much as Michael Jackson, to the extent that he was investigated, and they can't find one credible evidence of accusation of child abuse. And you know what? To me, that was enough, because you know how the government works. If they don't like you, they'll find that you jaywalk. They'll find the fact that they could not find anything on Michael Jackson.
Well, I know a lot of the stars are young kids that were stars. Said they never had anything to say about him. You know, they never said anything bad about him.
Yeah, that's what Rush Limbaugh was saying, because they tried the same thing with him. Anytime the government is after you, any government, the police department's after you, they're going to throw the book, and they really do. And so until I'm proven wrong, but I believe, I do not believe Michael Jackson was abused as a kid. You see in the movie, you know, corporal punishment, and
the father was cruel.
Yeah, and his brothers didn't defend him. You know, like I was telling Nadine, you know, like other families, the whole family would form a ball of protection. Like, Dad, you're going to have to beat all of us up before you get to Mom.
But they didn't do that.
But they didn't do that.
He was scary. Joe Jackson was very scary. He'd give Michael a look, and it'd make Michael just want to throw up.
Correct. So until I get beaten by a man, my dad, and traumatized like that, I'm not going to judge Michael Jackson. You know, we don't know what he went through, and he was on the lower end of the stick. You know, so he got beat a lot more. You know, because the pressure was high, the money.
Jackie was the first one. Yeah, Michael was near the end. Yeah.
But watch it. It's
wow.
And if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you have to watch it, because you get to see of everything that they're robbing you out of. Because everybody everybody like Michael Jackson has a talent, because when they said it's God-given, it's a God-given talent.
Oh, he's incredibly talented.
And that's what and you look at all of the people around him, they're all talented too in their own right. But the point is that the Jehovah's Witnesses steal, they're thieves.
Yeah.
That organization, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you're looking at this movie, you're going to see they're stealing not only Michael Jackson, but yours and everybody else's talent.
Yeah, very good. Well, and even Janet Jackson, when Janet Jackson finally broke free, she had her album Control, and it was talking about breaking away from Watchtower and her father and being able to, break away from that control and have her own freedom. That's what that album's all about, Control.
That's a good point, because Janet is getting it from her dad and from her mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she's a female, and the female, the female cares more about the family. That's just the flat out truth.
Mm-hmm.
Women, are more nurturing of a family. And so here you have Janet trying to keep the peace in the family. She's a female, and she's getting it on both sides.
Well, you had LaToya, and then you also had Rebe. And Rebe she's still at JW, and Rebe's husband is an elder. So you had Catherine, the mother, you had Rebe, the older sister, and then her husband, who is an elder, and they're all JWs. So LaToya left, and then Janet left. But, I would think Catherine is still alive. I know she's way up there, like in her 80s. But last I knew, she was alive, and she was trying to raise Michael's children in the organization. And, they got fed up with that and said no more. Michael really wanted Diana Ross to raise his children if he had passed away, but he adored his mother. Michael adored his mother, Catherine. And so before he passed, he had his mom raise them. And of course, she's been a witness forever, since the 60s. And so she wanted to raise her grandchildren, JWs, but that didn't go over too well. It did for a while, but no. So, but the creativity, that family is very, very creative. And you're right, Gilbert, about Watchtower squashing all of that for them, And then Janet, she ended up marrying a billionaire that was over in the Middle East, and she was 50 years of age. And it was amazing. She got pregnant, and she had the little boy. And then when she got pregnant, her husband started being physically abusive to her. So she finally broke away from him and moved to England. I believe it was London. And, anyway, so yeah, he was very nice and very interested in her at the time. She's very famous, but then, he's a Muslim. So once she got pregnant, she was dirt, and he didn't have any respect for her. It's just a different culture, different religion, and everything. And unfortunately, even though he was a billionaire, she paid a price for that marriage. She really did.
In your next show, it was in 2 weeks, right? You should do the topic on Michael Jackson movie. Everybody has a chance to go watch it. And from an ex-Jehovah's Witness perspective.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a really good idea.
Thank you for saying
people can call in and tell you, because it really, you're going to watch the movie and you're going to think about your life, not the fact that you had a monkey or a giraffe or anything like that. But your Jehovah's Witness life is you're going to see things. Right. And it's well,
I'll tell you, Gilbert, we don't have the bones of the Elephant Man here at the house, but I think that's a really good suggestion. I think the only thing that would preempt that would probably be the decision in Norway. That should be in the next time we have our program, which is bi-monthly.
Yeah, we'll see. But we will go see the movie, because I did see the movie way back when Michael Jackson. Oh, I loved it. Just absolutely loved it. He was so incredibly talented. He'd watch James Brown dance, and Fred Astaire, and he just studied their moves like crazy. I mean, and even Quincy Jones had said, Quincy Jones was the producer of Off the Wall. Quincy Jones had said to him, he said, or just to the public, he said, I've never in my life ever seen anyone so well prepared for rehearsals when it came to music as Michael Jackson. And I know the father had a lot to do with that. Man, if you were not prepared, or you stepped out of line, or you missed a step, the father came down really hard on those boys.
And I wanted to mention about just real quick. There's a comment that says Gene and Fred were all about him. Yeah, Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. And the beautiful thing about the movie, they bring out Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire.
Oh, do they? Okay.
In short little things.
Okay.
But the point is this: is that they're worldly. Gene Kelly's worldly. Fred Astaire's worldly.
Yeah.
But Michael Jackson's like, no, they're good, decent human beings. And they were influencing him. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about Martin Luther King. They were elevating the spirit. They were elevating the human being.
Right.
And so Watchtower is bringing down the human being. But see, so when you're a Jehovah's Witness and they say, well, he's worldly, no. A lot of worldly people want to lift up the human experience.
Right.
And in this movie, Michael Jackson is like, he was surrounded by, yes, a lot of bad people, but also a lot of good people.
Right.
And you can't be putting this category that he's a worldly person. No, that person may be sent by you, by God, to lift you up somehow. And then when you die, God's like, well, why? I sent you somebody.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's what I'm saying. This is a good movie, especially for you guys to do where people can call in, because you're going to see yourself. Kind of like I was telling you about the Old Testament or the movie about Michael Jackson. You see yourself in people. Maybe not the whole thing, but you're like, I could relate to that. I could relate to this story. I could relate to that. And everybody who's watching the 6 screens can relate to this movie, somehow in many ways.
Gilbert, I just want to say this, Rich. Whenever I'd see an interview, whether it was LaToya or Janet or Michael or Jermaine or Jackie, they were all very, very polite, very respectful, very quiet, just very respectful people. And I know a lot of that had to do with being raised at JW, but it also had a lot to do with the father who had an iron fist. He'd knock the living daylights out of those kids if they stepped out. He wanted to be a musician himself, and he was an iron worker in Gary, Indiana.
Right.
And so he lived his dreams through all of his boys. That's what
vicariously. Yeah. How's it saying you live your life vicariously through?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're bringing out a good point, because I was bringing it up with Nadine, and I was telling her how to me, my personal opinion is when Michael Jackson was with his brothers in the tour, he did it. He was at his best. In my opinion, Michael Jackson did great work, but I think at his best is when he's with his brothers.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Watchtower. They're always destroying families.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't be independent. Michael Jackson had to be independent to do Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. He had to.
Yeah.
But when he's with his brothers, he's a totally different persona.
Right. I think you're right about that.
But Watchtower destroys families, and that's the whole point. And you can see, other people don't see that in the movie. But you and I were like, oh my God, look what Watchtower's done to my family.
Incredibly talented. Incredibly talented.
So
unbelievable.
Look at your family. You start seeing, look what Watchtower did to me. They did it to Michael Jackson. They destroy us.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying this movie is so great, because we could really see ourselves in this movie, and we could really sympathize.
Gilbert, what's interesting is that he'd read his Bible every single day. Michael did. And he'd go out door to door, and he'd wear, like a beard and try to camouflage himself. And then if he was, out on, another country touring, he was still reading his Bible and still trying to go out and serve. I mean, he was really dedicated, because he adored his mother and he loved God, and he was trying to live, a godly life. When the elders just hammered him on Thrill, it broke him. It just absolutely broke him.
He was crying.
It destroyed him. And then all the lawsuits going on with the child sexual abuse, and it absolutely broke him. He was 50 when he died, which is so young. He was 50. He was young.
It's fun. The Thriller dance is amazing. Come on.
I love Michael Jackson.
The Thriller dance was amazing, and it's fun. And he did the disclaimer at the very beginning. I remember this kid.
Right.
The disclaimer every hour on the hour.
Yep.
And you know what? The beautiful thing about that dance scene, and in the movie, Michael Jackson knew, because he's from LA, the blacks are killing blacks. The blues are killing the reds.
Right.
The bloods are killing the reds.
Right.
He's seeing all of this.
Right.
What is Michael Jackson trying to do? He's saying, I got a talent from God and I got to bring people together. And if you look at Michael Jackson's videos and his short movies, he shows that, yeah, I'm bad and everything, but it's fun. But he's trying to show people that you can coexist. You don't have to kill each other.
Right.
And
Right.
he was trying, and he talks about it in the movie. And so when has Watchtower ever tried to bring peace between the Bloods and the Crips? No, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson has done more in one finger than Watchtower has done with billions of dollars to bring Black people in America together to stop each other.
Well, and he created, he had so much genuine love for people. It didn't matter what nationality anybody was or what race. People loved Michael Jackson all around the world, and you could see it on his tours. They just absolutely loved him. You can't fake that. And he had that one video, I forget the name of it, but where you have all the, you have people from Africa, and then you have people from Japan.
The world.
Yeah, and they're all changing the faces. Oh my gosh! I thought when I saw that video, I said Michael got that from Watchtower, from all the races and the people and the international conventions. That's nobody has a video like that even to this day. And that was one of the most beautiful videos he ever did. I just love that one.
My favorite part of the movie was when all the girls were fainting and crying and yelling and screaming, and one of them was right here.
Hi, Nadine.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
She was crying.
Oh, did you enjoy it? You enjoyed the movie?
I was dancing through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Actually. I mean, my feet and my hands and my arms.
Yeah. Oh.
And talking too.
Yeah.
It sucked her in. The movie sucked her in.
Oh, the music is fabulous.
We're supposed to be doing a movie review.
Oh
on
yeah,
this.
yeah, we'll do a movie.
I guess we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
We're supposed to.
The movie, when he did it with Quincy Jones, I've always loved Quincy Jones, and Quincy Jones just passed away recently. But they were just magic together, creating Off the Wall. Back in 82, 83. Oh my gosh, just incredible.
Don't stop till you get enough. And don't stop till you get. It has a violin intro, and I can't remember. It's a violin intro, though.
Yep.
And Michael Quincy Jones in a different video talks about how Michael Jackson says, "Can we get rid of that because it's taking away I can't." And Quincy Jones is like, "Oh hell no!" It was because as a musician, he knew this was it. So whenever you hear that intro, the violin, everybody knows Michael Jackson, but he was having a hard time. But you're right. I view Quincy Jones because he was the greatest work I think Quincy Jones did. Besides that, was with Frank Sinatra and Count Basie at the Sands. It was just,
he goes way back. Quincy Jones goes way back.
The greatest, in my opinion, the greatest Frank Sinatra songs always have a Count Basie and a Quincy Jones arrangement. And I think to myself, in the movie, these are good associations. Were they sinners? Were they whatever? Yeah, we all are. But at the end of the day, I think Quincy Jones, if he was your friend, he had your best interest in mind. I really do. That's what pisses me off about when I watched the movie, the Jehovah's Witness angle.
Yeah. I had read that, not necessarily read, it was an interview. I'm not sure if it was true, but Quincy Jones loved Michael Jackson. He really loved him. And anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I had heard in an interview that Quincy Jones's mother was a JW.
No way.
Now, I'm not sure if that's true, but I thought, wow, if that was true, you could see how, they would really connect, Michael Jackson and Quincy, when they did the collaboration of Off the Wall and everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. That's a good point that you bring up.
Yeah. And Quincy Jones, he was, I love Quincy Jones. I love, all of his music. I just always have. And he was so creative that he would go into the restroom and write his songs. That's where he'd write his songs. And he was so creative that he could not drive a car. He was just the way his brain worked and operated. He had to always have someone drive for him because he couldn't drive. It's just the way he was wired. His brain was wired. But he was a real genius. He really was.
And how many other geniuses did we lose in our religion
Oh,
that were of that caliber. I'm sure there's the list is huge. You know, we as Jehovah's Witnesses, we did not elevate humanity like we should have.
right. Well, even Prince, you know, I mean, he has such a huge catalog, Prince does. But one sister came on here, I don't know who she was, but anyway, I hope someday she comes back on. But she was saying that Prince was starting to have doubts about the organization as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was very interesting. How can you not, right?
Right.
How can you not? When you're in the organization long enough, you start to see things that, you know, are not right. You see hypocrisy and so forth. So, and then the other thing, getting back to Michael Jackson, I know Jermaine did an, excuse me, he did an interview with Larry King, and he was checking out being a Muslim, or he identified himself as a Muslim. And then Michael Jackson was checking that out too. Now, I don't know if he was a Muslim, but he was, once he left the organization, he was checking out the Muslim religion as well.
I think we did a movie review all about Elvis Presley, and I said how, in just my opinion, that, because I'm glad you said that, because my opinion, because I love Frank Sinatra, and Frank Sinatra is, in his older age, I hate to use this bad word, but an a-hole, bad. But the reason why is because when you look at his whole life, everybody's trying to take advantage of him. Everybody's trying to take possession of him, telling him what to do. And he had to just literally fight back. And so sometimes it comes across like he's being a jerk. But I'm looking at it like, no, this is what Elvis and Michael Jackson needed. They needed to have that Sinatra a-hole in them. Like, leave me alone. Everyone is trying to feed off of you.
Right. Well, you're so famous. Frank Sinatra was married to a few women, but he was married to Ava Gardner. And Ava Gardner said she didn't like him at first because he was very, very arrogant and vulgar. That's what she said. He was vulgar and arrogant. But then they ended up getting together and they got married. She was a beautiful woman, you know, but still, that was her impression of
He
Frank
did him wrong, though. No, but he did his wife wrong by leaving her. But so but the point is that I really do like the story of Frank Sinatra because he was able to break free and shine his light. Elvis and Michael Jackson, from a Jehovah's Witness perspective, looking at it, they almost got there and then they died. Yeah. But they also wanted to break free. And that's the lesson you learn. You know, you have to break free. You can't let other people feed off of you. And Watchtower feeds off of you.
Oh, yeah.
They're bottom feeders, man. Watchtower is always eating. Come to
really good point.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, well said.
And the attorneys, my God, you know, Michael Jackson was in a tremendous amount of debt when he died, and now that he's, you know, been gone for many, many years, he died in 2009. He died in 2009. So he's been gone. Well, it'll be June. This June will be 17 years. Yeah. So anyway, but he's worth now more that he's dead than he was when he was alive. That's why he wanted to do the 02 in London concert, because
you know what you're going to love about this movie? The charity. How much have you as a Jehovah's Witness given to charity? Nothing, zilch, nada. All of you Jehovah's Witnesses watching, you guys are tightwads. But Michael Jackson, I'm not going to tell you, spoiler alert, watch the movie. The man was generous. Who was generous? Elvis was generous. Who was generous? Frank Sinatra. All of these people that you call worldly, no, they gave more in one finger than the whole damn organization of Jehovah's Witnesses have ever given as a collective in 100 years of existence. And that's what you're going to take away as an ex-Jehovah's Witness watching this movie.
That's
so
a great point.
Is Rick out there taking notes? I bet she's
we got it recorded. No, but you know what? I had heard back in the day that Michael is the one who donated to Bethel all the telephones that are at Bethel. That money came from Michael Jackson, but he was on the QT. You know, he didn't like to brag about, you know, his philanthropic work, but he did.
Spoiler, but remember when he got burnt?
Oh yeah, from Pepsi.
Yeah,
we're not gonna tell you, but that's where the beauty of these men. They Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra were more Christian than Watchtower could ever be, because Jesus Christ says, "Don't let your left hand know what your right hand's
doing."
And this is what you're going to see in the movie. and you're going to want to be like Michael Jackson. You're going to want to give like Michael Jackson and
Isn't
shut
that
up.
sweet?
That's the beauty of this movie.
He had a lot of love for people. I mean, even if you went to Japan or wherever, people loved him. Okay? They were not Americans, they're Japanese. They weren't African Americans. They loved Michael Jackson because he just exuded all that love. He had a beautiful heart. He really did.
I think I'm scaring Rick, huh?
No.
Rick, no.
Rick's probably
He's scared.
used to it.
Like, this guy got too
No,
much
but
energy.
How come you don't have this kind of personality in the morning?
I know.
I'm a big talkative one in the morning, and he's like,
Oh, it's cute. Oh,
It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
it's quiet.
subject. It's a beautiful subject.
yes.
And I think this movie, for us, we as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, we can see it from an angle that many people can't.
Oh, exactly. Right, because we lived it.
Mhm.
We lived it.
and how his mom was so submissive to
The
Joseph,
husband.
and Joseph was horrible, just terrible.
Well, Nadine, if he beat the living daylights out of the kids, I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked her around too.
He probably, I think he did.
I don't
And
know, but I mean, an
I've heard
abuse.
before that he cheated on her too, many times.
Mhm.
That's a rumor that I have heard.
Well, they show that in the movie.
Well, that's true.
I
These days,
started
yeah,
reading
these-
the book on the biography of Michael
Yeah,
Jackson. It was
right.
huge. And he was such a dog.
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Jackson was such a dog. The boys, as they were growing up, they had girlfriends. Oh, yeah, he's getting laid by the girlfriends of his sons. He was a dog.
Yeah.
He was just a total pig. He was.
Yes. And she was perfect, a perfect little wife for him because she was a little Jehovah's Witness
Mhm.
wife.
That's right.
Very submissive.
That's right.
And when, he would beat Michael, she
Mhm.
didn't say anything. She didn't protect him.
Sad.
And also Joe,
Yeah.
Joe was like Watchtower. He preached a great line. The family, got to keep the family together, this and that.
Right.
It was a beautiful line, just like Watchtower. Watchtower writes beautiful titles to their magazines, but the inside of the books and magazines are excrement. You could use them for toilet paper.
Mhm.
But the title's great. And that's what you saw with Joe Jackson. Joe gave a great, outside, I'm doing this for the family.
Mm.
But the reality was no.
What was it? It was Michael had died and he's out there trying to promote, what was it? A book. It was Michael's death and he's out there trying to raise money for something.
An album or something.
Yeah. And I thought, oh my God, Michael just died and you're out there. Oh my God.
When Michael got burned in that Pepsi commercial,
Yep.
his father in the hospital wasn't concerned about him. And he just said, oh my gosh, when is he going to be able to go out on tour again? I got to get him working again. And,
Yep.
and then all the brothers and the mom looked at him like
Yep.
it's crazy. And
Yep. He
Yeah.
was a cash cow. That's all, cash cow.
And that explains, like with Watchtower. Watchtower cares about the money. They don't care about the individual.
That's right.
And you see that. You're like, okay, Joe is like Watchtower. He's just a machine.
Yeah.
They want you at the meeting. They want you out in service. It's a machine. They're feeders. And that's what Rick is, getting these clips so we can show everybody.
I love that. Well, and the thing is, that's why he and Michael Jackson and Elizabeth Taylor could really relate to one another because they were children and they didn't get to have a childhood. They were just forced to, to perform and give up your childhood. And that's why Michael loved, that property down there in Southern California that he named Netherland, because he never got to be a child. And, as grown adults should look at that and think, boy, that's pretty weird. But his childhood was stolen away from him, having to be an entertainer at such a young age and then raised as a JW on top of it. When did he ever have time for himself? He never did.
that's why he never grew up.
Yeah.
He never grew up.
Yeah.
He never, that's a broken heart. That's
A whole bunch of them. Judy Garland was the same way.
That's a broken heart.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people like that. Yeah. Elizabeth Taylor, Judy Garland. Yeah. And that's what you have to learn. We teach people like my grandfather, we used to laugh because, he Mexican, sombrero, wrinkly skin, just, I mean, as Mexican as you can get. Right. And he would tell us, and it was bad words in Spanish, but he would say, there's two types of people in this world. One that is trying to screw you and the other one that's trying to avoid being screwed, just running away.
Oh boy. Uh-huh.
And that's what you learn, like in this movie and what you're talking about. You know, as a Jehovah's Witness, ex-Jehovah's Witness, I realized that my grandfather was a prophet. Like, oh my God, he's right. Half of the world is always trying to enslave us in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's so important to run away and be with the other half of the world that want to be your friend because they like you, not because they can get from you.
Right.
Martin Luther King talks a lot about that.
Right.
They're utilitarian, you know, they only love you until they can, as long as they could use you.
But they can get out of you. Right.
Get out of you.
Right.
You have to make, and that's what this movie teaches you. Make the break. You got to make the break. Get out.
Mm-hmm. He was under so much stress. It was just so sad. It was very sad when he died. You know, the family knew that he had some issues. They were trying to get him to be in, you know, recovery. But, you know, that, trying to think of propofol, that's what it is. I've seen what propofol looks like. It looks like milk. And it's basically when you're having surgery, you know, my loved one had that. Wasn't having surgery, but he was in ICU. And I said, oh my God, look there's propofol. Looks just like milk. They hang it up on a bag and so forth. And unfortunately, Michael Jackson was having that just so he could sleep at night, you know? Yeah, you can't do that.
When I told them that, Rick Dick liked the idea that in 2 weeks they're going to have people.
That'd be fun, Rich, to go see
their homework. The first time we're giving everybody
No,
in the
I
6
didn't hear
screens.
that. What is it?
Well, we're giving everybody in the 6 screens a homework assignment to go watch the movie because in 2 weeks we're going to have the written review.
Written review. Oh my goodness.
No,
We better
Constance
study hard
will
for
do the
that
written
one.
review.
Dick and Connie.
Oh
are
my
gonna-
goodness.
And they're going to from a Jehovah's Witness perspective, something you're not going to be able to see on YouTube, only on the 6 screens, because we strive to make Rick look good.
Right.
That's
we
right.
always-
That's very true.
Well, in the movie, they did not show the mom, Catherine, going out in service
Thank
or
God,
even
yeah.
going to the meetings.
They didn't, huh? Okay.
No, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
No, she only said Jehovah once, and I thought, oh no.
That was good.
But you know, people in the audience, when she said Jehovah, they were quiet. I don't think a lot of them really got it. You know, I don't think a lot of them really got it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, oh no, Gilbert and I looked at each other like, oh no, it's starting.
Let me just ask her one question. Okay, you got the Michael Jackson movie and the Elvis movie.
Okay.
Oh
Which
my
one's the
gosh.
best?
Okay, going into it, I thought nothing, you know, Elvis is the best and everything, but I still think that I give Elvis the edge. But I was surprised how much I really liked the Michael Jackson movie.
Okay.
Because I didn't going in, I thought, oh, this isn't going to be maybe that great.
It should be
But
best
it was
picture of the
good.
year. It should be best picture of the year.
Wow.
But I like, which one for you?
Well, Michael Jackson, you know why? Because it's a feel-good movie. There's so much to learn. You can on the Elvis, but you know how all of the
I'm
movies right now,
supporting
sci-fi, everybody killing each other, nothing good.
Oh, yeah.
This, you could show this at church, and as a minister, you could dissect it to the congregation. It's that good. You can go. When I was a kid, our teachers used to make us watch movies, West Side Story in the 6th grade, and we would dissect it.
Yeah.
And this is how good this movie is. That you could actually be with. And if you do, go with friends. You know, don't go alone. Go with friends, because it's a great movie to have a conversation
Oh,
about.
how fun.
Well, the thing about the Michael Jackson movie is the music, because it's so good. Like I'm dancing, and thank goodness
phenomenal.
I talked Gilbert into going to the
Phenomenal.
IMAX, which is a little more expensive.
There's one bad
it's
thing about
worth
this movie. There's one really bad thing about this movie.
What
It
is
wasn't
that?
5 hours long. I would have loved
It should have been, huh? Yeah.
Elvis too.
Yeah.
I still think Elvis has the edge because that was Elvis being Elvis, and those were his recordings. And oh my God, Elvis is amazing.
Elvis was drop dead gorgeous in when he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know, the blue eyes.
Jumpsuit.
Oh my God, was he gorgeous.
Well, in the
That
white
smile.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to be on stage with Elvis dancing. That's what I wanted. But I mean, they
That's
were
cute.
both excellent. But I have to give Elvis the epic Elvis, which stands for Elvis Presley in concert. I give that movie the
I haven't
edge.
seen it. I haven't
Well,
seen
you
it.
have to
But
because
it's okay. I love the Michael Jackson movie also.
see the Michael Jackson movie from a director's point of view. It's a movie. It's a real movie documentary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Elvis, Epic, you don't even know it till afterwards that Elvis was talking to you all throughout the movie.
Mhm.
You don't even know it.
It's all Elvis.
And there's only one person in the movie. His name is Elvis Presley, and he's
Yeah.
talking to you, and you don't even know it.
Oh,
But when you
wow.
go back, you're like, oh my God, this was a one-on-one with Elvis, and he's
Right.
telling me his story. That's how good the directing is on the movie Epic.
Now,
It's-
Elvis had a twin brother, and the brother died at birth. Jesse was his name. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it was Aaron.
Aaron Jessers. Yeah.
Oh, Aaron. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it was Elvis Aaron Presley. And his twin was Jess or Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought the twin brother was Aaron.
Yeah, I went to Graceland. I
But-
guess a small
Yeah.
little. You got Elvis,
Graceland's
mom
not
and dad.
far from us.
Well, I wonder,
Graceland's not far
were
from
they
us.
identical twins? Could you imagine having two Elvis Presleys running
No,
around?
the world is not big enough for two.
Woo!
I know him.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
we live in South Carolina, and we've always wanted to go see.
Graceland.
Graceland. It's up in where?
Yeah, Memphis.
Tennessee.
Yeah, it's not too far from
Memphis, I
us.
think.
Yeah.
And you know what the beautiful thing about, again, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you got to see Epic because Elvis was a sinner. Yes, he was. But the gospel music that he sings in this movie is amazing. The gospel,
Oh, he had a beautiful voice.
he would praise
I
God
love gospel
every
music.
in every concert. He would always sing gospel, and he was always praising God.
Yeah, he was.
Show me somebody who does it like Elvis. Nobody. And that's what I'm saying. You know, Elvis, bad, worldly. No, Elvis was our brother. He's a Christian, and he praised God the best he could. And this is why I hate being a Jehovah's Witness, because I always loved Elvis, and they're trying to take him away from me by saying he's worldly. No.
But being worldly is actually a compliment in the world.
Mhm.
And being a Jehovah's Witness, being worldly is bad.
Mhm.
But so it's okay. We're all worldly. Because I remember growing up, I'm like, wait a minute. They say don't be worldly, but I'm living in the world, right?
Mhm.
This is
Right.
how I would think. I
Right.
tried to escape many times.
God loved the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to get out when I was very young and
Yeah.
teenage 20s, mostly in the 20s, and then again in the when I was in my
And
30s.
and Constance, you can relate to this as a Jehovah's Witness. They try to take Elvis Presley from you. The elders, like, don't listen to that music.
Or Michael Jackson.
Don't listen to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to take away this from me?
Right. Well, the thing I was going to say about Elvis Presley, I mean, he grew up dirt poor. Okay, and the father was he went to
Vernon, he went to prison.
he went to prison for stealing a pig.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
So I mean, they were very, very poor. But the point I wanted to make is he had such a beautiful, generous heart that I remember one time they said that he was, I don't know, he was at some car lot, they had, what'd they have, Rich? I'm trying to think. They had Jaguars or something.
Cadillacs.
And some lady came along and she was there and he noticed and she's looking at a beautiful car and she didn't have the money, but she really would have liked to have had it. And he bought her the car. He had a very, very generous heart because he was very poor and he knew what it was like to be very poor. And money didn't really mean that much because he was so famous and so successful. But, you tell me what governing body would do that to any of the JWs, right?
I heard an Elvis story where a person says that Elvis gave him a Cadillac.
Yeah.
He went back and apologized to Elvis. Says, Elvis, I'm so sorry. I had to sell the Cadillac because I needed the money. And Elvis says, oh, that's great. He goes, because I gave it to you twice. I gave it to you the first time as a gift, and you got to enjoy it. And now you sold it, and now you're enjoying the second gift. The way the guy thought, the way Elvis was thinking.
Oh, interesting.
It's and the guy who just couldn't believe, he felt bad that he had to.
Oh, I get you. Yeah. So Elvis was looking at it as a double reap. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying these
sweet?
people are beautiful people.
Yeah.
Worldly. This is what you get from the 6 screens. That worldly people treat us nicer than Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Very true.
Very true.
That's a very true statement. That's a very true statement.
Rick, did you take that as a note? Would you write that down somewhere?
I'm taking a lot of notes here.
Great show.
I don't know how many times the word sex was mentioned, but I'm starting to get red ears, But But
Hey, Rick
anyways,
Farron is going to do the show with silver gloves.
And white collar.
so I wanted to mention to Nadine. Can you hear me all right, Nadine?
Yes, I can. Hi,
Yeah.
Rick.
So, anyways, because of the phone lines down today, they're upgrading and doing something to the phone lines we have. We've been unable to bring people on the phone line. It hasn't really affected our numbers coming into YouTube, but we'll be back next week with the phone line. They've been updating things and what have you. But we're going to hold that personality contest off, not contest, but that personality survey off till next week, okay? Because the phone lines are down. So I wanted to let you know that.
Okay, did you find out what personality type
Yeah,
you are?
well, yeah, but I'll reveal it next week. Yeah.
Well, just text it to me. I want to know early.
Well, I'll let you know. I won't say it ahead of time because Gilbert will probably.
I
be
won't.
upset.
I'm not going to tell Gilbert.
Gilbert and I are on the same personality level.
He won't even remember the letters.
No, Rick is HIP. He's hip.
I got Gilbert to take the test. And
Gilbert,
Gilbert hates anything with psychology. He just says, "Oh no, I don't believe in that." But I got him to take it.
Good.
He's a remarkable person. Gilbert's a remarkable person. He has an aptitude that goes beyond normal.
Well, I know he has. Okay, so his personality type is one of the most intelligent. Yeah, he's an INTP.
Oh, we got people writing in on chat. I'm noticing here. Gilbert, you two lovebirds look great together.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
That's
Okay.
great.
So
He's a
that's good,
sweetheart.
man.
Gilbert's a sweetheart most of the time,
I
but he's very quiet in the morning. Oh my
Most of the time.
sent her money, so
That's so funny. It's so funny because I'm so talkative in the morning and Gilbert doesn't say anything. And then he
He's-
comes alive when he
wake up.
that cost me
shows.
$50.
Yeah, he comes alive later.
Well, but Gilbert's
Say that.
Gilbert's a real conversationalist. I
He
mean,
is when he wants to be, but
Hmm.
I can out-talk him at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when he talks, I just listen.
well, we'll do that personality. Yeah, we'll do that personality survey next week, for you, Nadine. I
Okay,
know that means a
perfect.
lot to you.
I'm
I know. I mean, that really. I mean, when you read your personality survey,
Mhm.
I think it lifted your spirit.
Briggs. It's Briggs.
I think it
Remember that
really
in college.
made you feel like, hey, look
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about this. I'm making some points here.
Yeah, and it was funny because when I read about my personality, I'm like, oh my God, how do they know all this stuff? And then I read Gilbert's and I'm like, oh God, this is so Gilbert. And then I got my friends to take it too, my worldly friends in California. And oh my gosh, I don't know how they get it down like that. The Myers-Briggs
Myers-Briggs?
personality test.
Yeah.
It is so on spot. I just, that's why I'm really excited to find out what you are, Rick. And did Susan take the test too?
We're gonna take it together. In fact, what I want to say to people now. Look at, Gilbert was saying, do your homework here. Watch the Michael Jackson movie. I'm gonna add some more homework to the table here.
Okay.
I want people listening into the 6 screens right now. Take the personality test, and then we can discuss it next week because I'm beginning to really see there's actually a connection. You could say there is a certain personality of people that leave the Watchtower, and I want to see how many of us are the same. I want to see if we're all on the same page.
Oh.
Connie, have
What?
you taken that test? Have you taken the Myers-Briggs?
I took it, honey, many years ago, but I haven't taken it recently.
Oh,
I haven't taken it. I'd love to take it. Yeah. How do we access it?
I can, if I have your phone number, I could send you the free personality test. I sent Rick, it's free, but a lot of them want you to pay for it, but I have the contact to the free one.
Okay. You can get my number from Rick.
Okay.
Okay.
And I
Susan.
also need Rick, I also need Anne Marie's phone number, which
Oh, right. I didn't give that. I'm sorry. I meant to give that to you the other day. Yeah.
you could, if you can, that would be great if you could give me Anne Marie and Constance.
All right. I'll put them together, and I want Dick to take the contest too. And then next Saturday night, we can all we can all see if we kind of line up with each other. Okay.
Hey, Rick, I just wanted to say this before I go, because I'm getting ready to go. The goal of the 6 screens is to get as many current Jehovah's Witnesses watching.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, not today, this week. The movie just came out, so you still got like 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. But I really do think that if you do Michael Jackson topic, I think a lot of current Jehovah's Witnesses might bite on that
That'd be
feed.
great. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what we'll do is next week we'll bring it up, and we're kind of current, and maybe we'll get a chance. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if I have a chance to see it. But if we don't bring it up next week, we'll have Dick and Constance bring it up on their show. In fact, why don't we let's plan on that. Dick and Constance can bring it up 2 weeks from now. That'll give people 2 weeks, because I don't think I'll be able to see it next week here. I'm really swamped.
Yeah.
So give us 2 weeks and we can probably.
Yeah, but that's the purpose. Is we really want clickbait to get the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're going to click on that. They can't help it.
Right. You know, guys, wouldn't it be amazing if Janet Jackson or one of them came on 6 screens? I'd love that.
Yeah.
Or Jermaine or any of them. I'd love that. Tito, Jackie, that'd be fun.
Come on, the Jacksons, if you're listening.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, shine your light, man. Let your light shine.
Yeah,
Catherine
definitely.
Jackson is still alive. I think she's still alive. I think she's 90 something.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, if we do this long enough, I mean, some high-profile person is going to show up here. You know, I'm thinking, really, because this is where ex-Jehovah's Witnesses come to talk. And I'm thinking that, people that have been involved with the witnesses and are still ticked off with their trek in the Jehovah's Witness religion, they can land up here talking about it. So the door's open for anyone. We always said it.
Yes, George Benson. George Benson, you are officially invited to the 6 screens.
You just read my mind. George Benson had lived in Maui for many years, and last I heard, he's in Arizona, where you guys are.
He's in
Does he live near?
Paradise Valley, where
should go
where Glenn
see
Campbell
him.
used to live. Yeah, but yeah, there's a George Benson has to just come clean.
He had been an elder at one time,
Yeah,
and I understood he was disfellowshipped, but then reinstated. So, yeah, it'd be fun to have him come back on, on the show. Not saying he's been on the show. I'm sorry. It'd be fun if he came on the show to talk to us. I'd love that. That'd be fun.
yeah, him and Rick. Could you imagine? Oh my God, yeah.
I'd love that.
Did
I went to the Circle Star. This was back in 1982, and he was at the Circle Star. And I was so jazzed. I was a witness at the time, and I got to see him after the concert and went up to him. And he has a son named Robert. And anyway, he was very, very nice. But I've always wondered, his wife is a witness, and I'm sure his son Robert now has grown. But yeah, interesting.
Well, we got Junction Guy on here with us too. Junction Guy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you.
All right, Junction Guy, I want you to take that personality test too. I want to see where you fall, So next week there's a personality test you can take, and we want you to take it. And what you can do is next week we're going to have the personality. In fact, I'll tell you what, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they always said when you became a Jehovah's Witness, your personality would change. Remember that?
Yes.
New
New personality.
And
Right.
it did. I mean, I have to tell you, my personality changed when I became a witness too. I mean, I was one when I was little, but I noticed my personality changing when I left. So we'll be talking about that next week, when we had a real change. Gilbert, did your personality change when you left?
When I left, man, it felt so good. I remember telling God when I was leaving the Kingdom Hall, if I can't live forever after I die, or I have to listen to these guys, I have to live with these elders, I'd rather just be dead. Just kill me. Send me to hell with everybody else.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I started thinking, even as I was an anointed special witness, I started thinking, do I really, are these really my brothers and sisters? These guys are twisted with the way of thinking, and they started getting upset with me because of all of that. But then I got thinking too, even for a witness to have the hope of living in a world where you have to constantly be praising the elders and the governing body, and you go to a barbecue and you barbecue broccoli, that's not something that is pleasant. We all love to eat a nice piece of steak or a nice pork chop or something on the grill, but be able to, what really does the new world have to offer people? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, what a boring world,
Rick, you're so funny.
Barbecue broccoli. That's a new one. Yeah.
Well,
Rick,
Rick, I was going to say one thing.
Go
Is
ahead.
that okay? So you know how after Armageddon, then you have 1,000 years to prove yourself, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then Jehovah's going to let Satan out again. So what
He
kind
tested
of
again.
deal is that?
Right.
Because then we're going to be judged again. It's just all judgment all the time.
That's right.
And who has to live like that, Nadine? I mean, really? I mean, this is why we are free. And this is why we feel so good. I feel like a whole different person than when I was in the Watchtower.
Right.
Entirely different.
Well, for me, it's like my personality blossomed.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great.
Uh-huh.
Great.
Because
Wonderful.
you can't be really who you are. You have to suppress everything. Everything is suppressed. And that's why people have double lives in the organization. Because in your double life, you can, those feelings become unsuppressed.
Well, how about Junction Guy? How's Junction Guy? Junction Guy, did your personality change when you left?
Well, I don't know if it changed. I've taken these tests before, and I don't know how to interpret them, but I think my personality, it changes based on where I'm at. I think it said I was introverted, something, INFJ or something like that. I don't remember. I could be wrong on that.
I know what
But
that stands for.
What's that?
I know what that stands for.
Yeah. So it's like, in certain situations, like if I'm around people that I know or people that I possibly know or have connection to, I'm very, I can get into the conversation. Like certain situations I can go, like when I'm at home in Kentucky, I visit a new church. I'm walking around talking to people, just making conversation. I know probably half of them or know of them. So it's just where I'm at. I don't know exactly. Like here, I'm probably more introverted. I don't have a lot of friends around here. I've tried to make friends. I've a lot of people around here were like fake friends. They were looking for, alternative motives, money or whatever. So yeah, I guess I probably fit that profile. I do notice I have I get nervous speaking, telephone conversations or speaking like in a group like this or on the conference call. There's a little bit of anxiety, whereas, I may clam up or not say what I want, where if I'm right there in person with you, I would talk your ears off.
Well, you're doing fine. You're doing fine, guy. Really, in fact, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that tell me that, but I was really nervous too when I started doing this. But the more you do it, and I see you're coming on more and more, and you don't sound nervous to me. You're doing a great job. Great job. I love to have Junction Guy with us.
And Junction Guy, don't worry. A lot of people get nervous when they first meet me and they start talking like, "Wow, it's GG! Can't believe it!" Well, you're going to be fine. No, you are a natural. No, really, you are. I think Rick would agree, and so would Dick. And you're a natural.
I love his handle.
Yes.
Junction Guy. Where'd you come up with that Junction Guy handle?
The little town where my family's from in Kentucky.
Okay.
We call it the Junction. We don't call it by its proper name. We just say, I'm going to the Junction, or I just left the Junction. I'm headed to town. So it was my favorite place to be in childhood. I go there to get away from the witnesses because none of the family that we associate with were witnesses there. It was my one escape away from the JW life. I did have other relatives close by there that surprisingly my grandma wasn't too close to. there was a lot of family feuding within the witnesses. So we associated more with our worldly family than we did our witness family. So I never went to a Kingdom Hall there when I was growing up. Not once did we attend a Kingdom Hall because we were usually leaving on a Sunday to head back home. But like I said earlier, you know, once I moved there, I decided I wanted to live there. What did I do? I started going back to the Kingdom Hall because a cousin talked me into going, and I could talk all day, tell you the whole, you know, I know you got another program
Well,
to do.
what we're going to do with you, Junction Guy, is on a Sunday. Well, not tomorrow because we don't have the 6-screen Sunday tomorrow, but we're going to get you on Anne Marie's program. She has a program on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Ex Jehovah's Witnesses Share Their Story of Being in the Watchtower. So we're going to get you on there one of these days. I want you to. We want to hear it all. Well, I think we're going to kind of cut to the news here. I find it fascinating, though, that you guys were all able to come on. And Dick and Constance, I have to tell you, I thought that with the telephone line being out tonight, that we would lose a lot of views, but we haven't. In fact, we come just about where we normally would be. And I want to let people know who are listening in right now on YouTube and Facebook that the telephone line will be back next Saturday night. I kind of miss it, but it was kind of fun doing this.
What are you doing?
Who has a sexier mustache, Junction Guy or Dick?
Joe Dario has.
I just trimmed mine. I may trim it again.
Oh, I know. We should have a vote. We should do a vote.
Yeah, vote in the comment section. Vote.
Vote. Yeah.
Well, you know, in fact, we're gonna be talking on JW World next. You know, in fact, it's so interesting that I get some information about Jehovah's Witness men.
Oh boy.
There's so many sisters that are looking that they're really upset. I got some information from a sister today.
Yeah,
And she's all upset that there's no handsome men left in the Kingdom Hall.
that's a problem.
They've all become worldly.
They're all taken off. And then she mentioned with the mustaches and what have you, she said some of them are growing these beards. Now, you guys look good. You keep your mustache looking good. In fact, Dick always reminds me of Tom Selleck. He looks good. He looks really good. Yeah. He could be a double for Tom Selleck. I think so.
By a Ferrari.
A red one.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is, so this sister was telling me that, Rick, that there's no good-looking men left in the organization. She says all the good-looking guys got up and left. So we're going to be talking about that on JW World News tonight.
I like
could chime in on that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see. So it's kind of fascinating because what they were saying is a lot of the men have, they moved on. They're getting it. Now, the organization, as we know, has way more sisters than brothers.
Yeah.
So consequently, they all dress up. I mean, the sisters look good. They dress up. You know, they put the makeup on. They put the nice dresses on, shine their shoes. And, you know, they're hoping to find a good brother. But, boy, I'll tell you, the picking is slim. The picking is very slim. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that tonight.
Oh, good.
But anyways, we had a good program, Dick and Constance, and having Nadine and
Thank you, Rick.
Junction Guy with us and having Gilbert Gonzalez with us. I mean, that really made the night. Yeah.
Sorry, we ran an hour overtime. We tend to do that.
Well, no, in fact, I was enjoying it. I've been sitting back here and just listening to this. I kind of like the format. Now, we do have to have that telephone line up because it does make it more, I don't know, it has a little mystique to it because, there's quite a few YouTube people who do what we're doing right here. So we'll incorporate this into our program next week as well. But I'm going to get a chance to kind of experiment with it. And it's good. We had a number of people come through here, more than I thought. Everyone didn't get a chance to come on the stage there with us today. And many of them came backstage. You couldn't see them. But we're going to try this format again next week. But the telephone line will be back. And we're doing really good. I mean, the 6 screens, I have to tell you, is really, I don't know what happened to it. And I don't want to, sound like I'm boasting or anything, but it's all you guys that are making it. You are making the 6 screens. This program right here is really add a lot to it. our numbers have doubled in the last couple of months. Now that is amazing. Now, is that, and I can only think it's because there's so many people getting out of the Watchtower right now. I have no other reason. I don't know what the other reason will be. Other than Dick, maybe it might be that mustache that Dick has.
That's it.
That might be it. Yeah. So anyways, the other thing is Susan's here. She's listening in. She says, when are they going to get out? Because I'm telling you, and I can also bring this up on my news tonight, what we have here, and we talked about this deconstructing, and there's a lot of witnesses right now in total denial. And you'll hear a little bit of that coming up on the news. And what a lot of witnesses are doing without really coming out and saying they disbelieve in all of this. They're very cautious, like we were. We didn't just jump out of this. We had to kind of do it with baby steps, right?
Right.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right. So give your last comments anyways, guys.
Okay, I'll start. Hey, so everybody, you got to watch Epic, but really the most important video you need to watch as a Jehovah's Witness or ex-Jehovah's Witness is the new Michael Jackson movie, because you're going to be able to see things, similarities in your life. And you're going to have to find out that you got to be like Michael Jackson, and you have to let your light shine.
Oh,
And this is what this movie is going to do. Can't wait till we talk about it in the future, but please watch it. And don't think about anybody else but yourself. Think, how is this going to make me a better person? And I think that's how we could say to Michael Jackson, hey, we love you. You know, you make, that's what we want to do. We want to make each other better people. And this movie does do that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And how about you, Nadine? Do you have any last comments for the audience?
Well, I'm really excited for next Saturday, Rick, with the personality segment. I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. And how about Junction Guy? What do you want to say to the audience, Junction Guy? Parting comments.
I just want to say that I'm looking forward to the next show. I want to have a question. Is this StreamYard Zoom type thing, is this available every week, or is this just because I could have been doing this before? But
Well, we will make it. In fact, you like the format? You like listening in on this?
yeah, I mean, I can listen to it on YouTube or on the phone, but you know, this is a way you can.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll make this be like a Zoom meeting. We'll have a segment where we can bring everybody on, because what happened? I don't know if you guys can you guys see anybody backstage here? Can maybe not, but people come in. It's called backstage. I can see them, but you can't. And then what I can do is I can bring them on. We had a number of people come in tonight that, so I wanted to tell you, I'm sorry for not getting you on if you came in, but sometimes they come in for a little while, then they leave. But we'll make this part of our general format. I'm glad we could do it tonight as a little experiment. Yeah.
It's more personal, Rick. It's more personal. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, it added a little color to the whole thing here. But we'll have the phone line too, because a lot of people are not into the internet here. But this is kind of the new technology. But what happens is I've also had some people say, well, you know, when you see all these people and they'd rather listen in on radio, on the telephone. But we have that too. But we can do both. We can do both, and we'll have a good time next week. So we're looking forward to it. So, Dick and Constance, what's your last comments for the night?
Well, for me, it's this. There is a spirit that is directing Jehovah's Witnesses, but it's not the spirit of our Heavenly Father. It is the spirit of Satan, the devil, the father of the lie. And this organization is going down, and the Watchtower is proud to, the 6 Screens is proud to say we cast a really bright light into the darkness of the Watchtower. It's corrupt, and Satan the devil is on the run. And me and Connie feel privileged to be on 6 Screens to help that bright light shine even brighter with every passing program we do.
Yeah.
Well, very
Took the
good.
words right out of my mouth.
And how about you, Constance? What do you have to say? What's your last comments for the audience?
Well, thank you, Rick. I just want to say we really love everybody. We thank, Junction Guy coming on, Nadine and Gilbert. It's just great. And everybody listening in tonight, we just really, really love you. And thank you for taking the time to be a part of our show. And, don't ever be a stranger. We'd love to meet you in person. It's the first time I've really had a chance to say hello to all three of you, really. I mean, I saw Nadine at the convention, but never had a chance to say hello. And Gilbert, I've never said hello to you. I've maybe on the phone, but I've never spoken to you in person. You guys were at the convention back in 2019 or whatever, and you were in the sprinklers. I mean, I saw that,
2016, yeah. Wow, time is gone. 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Wow, that was fast. And Junction Guy, I heard you on Fran and Joe's show, but I've never seen you. So it's more personal when you get to see people, rather than just a voice. And there's no reason really to feel nervous or uncomfortable. We just love everyone, and we're all one big family. So thank you so much, everybody.
Well, very good. And we had a really good time. Now, I just want to mention to people, too, that now the telephone line isn't up. So anyone listening in right now, you can watch us on YouTube tonight. We'll be all settled for next week. Next week, we'll be back with the telephone number, but you can watch us on YouTube or Facebook. I've had a few people call me on the phone. Rick, what's going on? I can't get into the 6 screen. But they can listen. They can listen on Facebook or YouTube tonight. Well, thank you all for coming in. Keep the wheels of progress moving. We really appreciate all your efforts, and thank you, Dick and Constance, Nadine, and Scott, and Junction Guy. We had Scott coming in from Florida as well.
Oh, yes.
As well. And we also had Dean coming on.
Dean came on. Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So you guys keep waving that flag of victory and give us about 5 minutes because I'm going to be setting up your JW World News. So stay on this YouTube, Facebook channel, and our radio network. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. God bless.
Good night, everyone.
God bless everyone.
We love you.